Pokémon. The trainer begins as a bounty hunter. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1. Mercenaries in the Evergreen Forest. Viridian City is located in the western part of Kanto. Its name means eternal green, surrounded by foothills and forests. Its origin comes from the Viridian Forest, which is the largest in the Pokémon world and has the largest number of Pokémon species. If Cerulean City, also a Kanto city, attracts all kinds of tourists with its beautiful scenery and water performances, and Golden City develops with the fame of the Super Queen and the prosperous business atmosphere, then what attracts people most to Viridian City is the various resources in the boundless green sea. Regardless of how much profit can be made by catching and selling Pokémon and Pokémon eggs at the risk of breaking the law, the benefits of collecting various excellent medicinal materials in Viridian Forest alone are enough to make people jealous. Not to mention that every year there are rumors that lucky people get natural treasures such as miracle seeds that can permanently enhance the power of Pokémon moves and become rich overnight. This leads to an endless stream of people coming to Viridian Forest to explore every year, not only trainers, but also bounty hunters. Don't get me wrong, the bounty hunters mentioned here are not the same kind of people as the infamous Hunter J. They are all registered with formal unions. Of course, every group inevitably has some scum, but for a group like bounty hunters, who are known for being more interested in money than life, such people seem to be particularly numerous. Every year, countless people like this die in the Evergreen Forest due to the dangers contained in this beautiful forest. At this time, in an uninhabited corner of the Evergreen Forest, a boy with brown hair about 1.8 meters tall was running madly in the forest. On his handsome face, joy, excitement, and fear were mixed together, and he even looked a little hideous. While running, the boy couldn't help but turn his head and look back, only to see several black and yellow flying shadows in the air flying quickly in the forest. The flying shadow's small body was full of strength, and it kept approaching the boy at an incredible speed. The wind from its wings caused the branches and leaves passing by to sway constantly. As the distance got closer, the appearance of the flying shadow gradually became clear. It is similar to the yellow giant hornet, but it has only 4 legs instead of 6. The body is divided into 3 sections, with a round head, a pointed mouth, 2 antennae, and 4 legs attached to the abdomen. The tail is yellow and black, with a poisonous sting at the end. The legs are slender, and there are large and thick white stings on both hands. There are 2 pairs of wings on the back, with complex patterns on the wings. This is the giant hornet in the Evergreen Forest that makes people shudder. The irritable giant hornets have a strong sense of territory, and they will attack anyone who invades their territory. If it weren't for the stupid rookie who didn't know the sky and the earth, and attacked the Iron Shell Kun, causing most of the giant hornets in this group to seek revenge on the trainer, I guess I would have avoided this group and dared not to do it as before. The handsome boy Tamaki Tetsuya fled frantically and heard the sound of the giant hornet's wings vibrating behind him and smiled bitterly. But then a trace of determination flashed in his eyes. Although it was a sudden impulse, he was very familiar with this place. Moreover, during such a long escape, he gradually found a way to get rid of most of the Beedrills, and only the last 3 were left. And when he thought of the benefits after this success, Tetsuya's face immediately regained calm and confidence. Looking up at the bird shadow flying fast with him in the low sky in front of him, Tetsuya calculated the time and distance, and shouted to the sky, "Pidgeot, you blow away on the Beedrills again." The bird shadow in the air heard Tetsuya's voice, turned flexibly in the air, and flew straight in the air, flapping its wings quickly to form an airflow to blow the Beedrills behind. The Beedrill's body swayed with the blowing of the airflow, and its speed slowed down rapidly. It seemed that Tetsuya was about to pull away and escape. Seeing this, Tetsuya did not flee quickly, but turned around and continued to command Pidgeot, "Use the wind force just now." To continue to use the wind, increase the force. Pidgeot, who was very tacit with Tetsuya, knew what he was going to do the moment he spoke, and immediately changed his moves, flapping his wings even harder. The wind that was just a stream of air immediately turned into a gust of wind, sweeping towards the Beedrill. the Beedrill's body became completely uncontrollable. After all, although the wings of insects can support their very fast flight, the power given by the wings to fly is still too small when facing the gust of wind blown by the wings of bad elves. The 3 Beedrills were blown all over the place, and after losing their balance, they were blown away and hit the tree trunk. One of the Beedrills, whose body was already scarred, lost its ability to fight on the spot, and the other 2 were struggling to get up. Use lightning flash on those 2 Beedrills and completely eliminate them. Tetsuya issued the order calmly. Pidgeot quickly approached the enemy in the air, and a glimmer of light flashed on its body during the flight, and then the speed suddenly increased, and hit the 2 Beedrills in succession. The Beedrills that had just stood up were immediately knocked back by Pidgeot's attack, and crashed into the tree trunk again, losing their ability to fight. Well done. Tetsuya praised from a distance. Pidgeot responded to Tetsuya's praise, and then landed beside his trophy, panting and tidying up his feathers that had become extremely messy after a long battle. Tetsuya walked quickly to the 3 fainted Beedrills, opened his backpack, and took out thick gloves, and carefully collected their tail stingers. Although the 3 stingers on the Beedrills are poisonous, only the poisonous stinger on the tail is the most toxic, and people who buy them in the market often only buy the tail stinger. Although the price is not high, no matter how small a mosquito is, it is still meat. Tetsuya carefully preserved the poisonous stinger and put it in his backpack. Thank you for your hard work, Pidgeot. Tetsuya smiled and greeted Pidgeot, who was on alert after tidying up his feathers, and took out another bottle of medicine spray from his bag. Seeing this, Pidgeot also flapped its wings and landed beside Tetsuya. Tetsuya gently sprinkled potions on the wounds of Pidgeot and fed it an orange fruit to restore its strength. Okay, we can prepare to go back. After spraying the potion, Tetsuya breathed a sigh of relief. But this is just a simple treatment. In order to ensure that there are no sequelae of the injuries, it is still necessary to return to Joa at the Pokémon Center in Viridian City for treatment. Tetsuya put Pidgeot back into the Pokéball, observed the surrounding environment, and quickly left in one direction. Behind him, 3 Beedrills whose stingers were taken away were still unconscious. What will be their fate? Maybe they can wake up and fly away in time and grow new stingers after a few months of recuperation. Or maybe they will be eaten by the Pokémons who heard the sound. But this has nothing to do with Tetsuya. Chapter 2. The Magical World and the Outsiders. They walked easily on the forest road opened by the Alliance. There were few people here, and the breeze made Zaya's already good mood even more cheerful. There was no need to wonder why there were no trainers on the safe road. After all, in order to ensure smooth traffic, the Pokémon Alliance would regularly issue tasks to ask people to clean up the Pokémons within 2 kilometers of the road. In this case, over time, no Pokémon would approach here, let alone gain anything. Trainers came to the Evergreen Forest to adventure, either to make money or to hone themselves, and of course they would not take the main road. In addition, there is a famous saying in the Pokémon world, real trainers are those who constantly open up new roads in the primeval forest. So it is not surprising that there are few people, but this has nothing to do with Zaya. Looking at the beautiful scenery of the sunset, Zaya tightened the space backpack behind him and quickened his pace back to Evergreen City. Pokémon Center in Evergreen City. Ding dong, the reminder sound of the Pokémon watch sounded. Zaya quickly walked to the treatment table and showed his Alliance identity card to Joai. Hello, Trainer Tamaki. Your Pidgeot has recovered. Please take your Pokéball. Joai confirmed his identity with the machine and said to Tetsuya with a professional smile. Tetsuya sincerely thanked him and left immediately with the Pokéball. It's not that Tetsuya is polite. One reason is that he is really grateful for the treatment of the Pokémon, and the other is that no one wants to offend the Joai family. Although most Joais are very considerate, they will not do anything to you if you are a little impolite. But if one day you make a Joai feel that you are not a qualified trainer, then congratulations, you will not be able to enjoy any service of the Pokémon Center and the entire Alliance. Note that it is any service. Not only treatment, but also acceptance and submission of many tasks, registration for regional conferences, and even official forums and transactions. Of course, there seem to be only a few such people in the history of the Alliance, so don't worry too much. Tetsuya carried his bag and walked alone in the bustling buildings, feeling lonely and out of place in his heart. In a blink of an eye, he has been in this world for 16 years, Tetsuya sighed. In his previous life, he was just an ordinary person. When he woke up, he found himself traveling to this magical world. In his memory, it was an animated world. He also became a baby, just like the poor guy in the novel, who was thrown at the door of the welfare home. The only thing to be thankful for is that the society and technology of this world are unusually developed compared to the previous life, so the welfare work is also quite well done. When each orphan grows up to about 3 years old in the welfare home, the Alliance will send people to teach the most basic literacy. After mastering it, they can go to school to learn basic knowledge. After passing the basic knowledge test, depending on the excellence of the grades, the orphans can also choose different subjects to study. This is further advanced education, and the cost of the excellent ones is only 1000 Alliance coins per person per subject, of course, limited to a maximum of 3 subjects. ZHE is such an excellent talent, or even better than this. Maybe because of the enhancement of the reborn soul, ZHE was not a high IQ genius in the previous life, but in this life, ZHE can even achieve an exaggerated level of photographic memory during the learning process. That was the case, and the fact that the Alliance only required passing the exam, so Zaya completed literacy and basic knowledge learning at the age of 7, 3 years earlier than the normal progress of 10-year-olds. Not to mention that Zaya's grades were exceptionally good, so the Alliance waved its hand and, seeing Zaya's talent, directly exempted Zaya from the cost of choosing 3 advanced education courses, a full 3000 Alliance coins, which was a huge sum of money for Zaya, who was still a child at the time. So Zaya was grateful to the Alliance in his heart. After all, he relied on the knowledge of these 3 majors to survive in this world until now. Elf studies, pharmacology, and fruit studies. These were the contents that Zaya chose to study. Since he left the orphanage at the age of 12, it was relying on the first 2 to survive in the evergreen forest and gradually improve his life. Don't think this is an exaggeration. Normal people need a full 4 years to learn a subject, and they can only barely pass the exam. Zaya used 5 years to master all 3 subjects, and his grades were very outstanding. At that time, the teachers of the Alliance school thought that he could develop into an elf scholar in the future. However, ZHE knew very well that as an orphan, even if he became an elf scholar, he would most likely not be able to support himself after many years of research without any results, so he chose a career that could make money quickly. Thinking of this, ZHE stopped and looked up at the big words above the door in front of him, Bounty Hunter Center. ZHE smiled and walked in. Trading counter number 2. ZHE waited in line for a while, and the line was not long, so it was soon his turn. The staff member said expressionlessly, "Please put the items you want to sell on the table in front of you." ZHE was very familiar with this process, and he took out the things in his backpack before the staff member finished speaking. 5 beadrill tail stingers, each priced at 2000 Alliance coins, a total of 10,000 Alliance coins. The snake's luff of the Abba snake, unfortunately it is not from the Abba monster, is worth 50 Alliance coins per gram. Here are 620 grams, a total of 31,000 Alliance coins. There is also beadrill honey, you are really brave and lucky, worth 1000 Alliance coins per gram. Here are 421 grams, a total of 421,000 Alliance coins, and the total of the previous 2 items is 462,000 Alliance coins. The staff member quoted the price very skillfully and sighed. Zaya listened to the staff's offer. Although he had been prepared, he was still very surprised by the generous profit this time. After the staff entered the profit, Zaya took the identity card handed over by the staff, gave a good comment, and left the trading office. Walking to the mission hall, Zaya came to a machine with a red and white Pokeball printed on it. Codename, Mercenary, submit the mission. The number is 573,677,400. Zaya inserted his Alliance ID card into the opening on the machine. A photo of Zaya was immediately displayed on the machine screen. Next to him was his bounty hunter codename Mercenary, and the situation of his completion of this mission. A red light swept by. Identity confirmed. Codename Mercenary. Mission number is 573,677,400. Please place the items required for the mission at the entrance below. This line of words immediately appeared on the machine screen. Zaya took out a large pile of herbs from his backpack again. This was the target of his mission this time, the star grass. It grew sporadically in places where grass-type Pokémon appeared densely. It was moderately difficult to pick, but it took a long time, and the amount required by the task issuer was also relatively large. Put it into the storage port at the bottom, and the machine automatically closed the lid. Testing newcomer and new book. Please support us, thank you. Please recommend and collect. Chapter 3 Goldfinger and Reality. The test has passed, and the mission has been confirmed to be completed. The difficulty level of your mission is C, the completion rate is 100%, and the income is 50,000 Alliance coins, after tax, which has been deposited into your ID card. You have completed a total of 0S level missions, 0A level missions, 1B level mission, 42 C level missions, 132 D level missions, and 201 E level and below missions. Your current hunter level is C. The machine flashed the text quickly. They didn't care. After confirming that the income had been deposited, he pulled out his ID card and left the hunter hall. He went to the department store to buy some Pokémon food and daily necessities. They spent 50 Alliance coins to take a tuk-tuk special car back to his small villa in the suburbs of Viridian City. There were several common fruit trees planted behind. Viridian City is close to Viridian Forest and has a large area and few people. Although the housing prices in the city center are not low, the housing prices in the suburbs are very ordinary, and the housing prices in the city center are actually just like that. After all, most trainers and hunters who come to adventure will not live there permanently, and the accommodation rooms in the Pokémon Center are enough. At least Tetsuya has seen that the value of his suburban villa is about the same as the price of a toilet in Golden City. If converted to the center of Viridian City, it is just a small single-room bungalow, which is outrageous. It is not difficult to understand. After all, occasionally there will be elves running out of Viridian Forest, and the irritable elves will enter the house to attack humans. So most people still prefer to live in the city center. At least there will be no such troubles and dangers. But Tetsuya doesn't care. After all, he is more or less a trainer, and it is still easy to deal with these problems. Back home, first release Pidgeot, pour some of the food that bird elves like to eat into its exclusive bowl, and add some secret recipe food prepared by Tetsuya himself, and finally put a bowl of milk in a large milk can next to it. Watching Pidgeot eat first, Tetsuya walked into the bathroom and started to take a shower. After taking a shower, Tetsuya wiped his head and walked out of the bathroom. He saw that Tetsuya, who was shirtless, had scars left all over his body over the years. The 8 abdominal muscles on his abdomen and the powerful biceps on his arms showed Tetsuya's excellent physical fitness. Seeing that Pidgeot had finished dinner and was moving freely in the back garden, Zaya sat down on the sofa and silently said in his heart, "0, open Pidgeot's panel." As his mind changed, data and reports quickly entered his mind, and a blue panel that only he could see appeared in Zaya's field of vision. Pidgeot category, bird Pokémon attributes, general/flying height 1.3 meters, average is 1.1 meters, weight 36 kilograms, average is 30 kilograms. Characteristics, sharp eyes. Thanks to the sharp eyes, the hit rate will not be reduced. Hidden characteristics, strong chest muscles, will not be affected by the effect of reduced defense, and Pokémon with this characteristic will be stronger than their peers. Skills, impact, call, peck, sand blowing, wind, lightning flash, blowing, feather dance, high speed movement, tornado, inherited, level 33, elite, potential. King cultivation plan. It is recommended to conduct targeted strengthening training on the wings of this Pokémon. Massage relaxation after weight training. The specific methods are as follows. It is recommended to strengthen the reaction speed, supplemented by nerve potions. The formula is as follows. 20 g of glitter grass. It is recommended to strengthen the bone strength, supplemented by a bone strengthening recipe. The formula is as follows. 10g of Caracalla stick bones, 20g of milk from a large milk can. Looking at the data given by Zero, ZHE's eyes lit up. Pidgeot's level has increased by 1 level compared to yesterday. Although the level does not completely represent the strength, it can accurately reflect the current state of the elves. ZHE also does not know what the level of the next level Quaseking will be displayed on the panel. At present, he only notes that those below level 5 are juveniles, levels 5 to 15 are novices, levels 15 to 30 are ordinary, and above level 30, his Pidgeot becomes an elite. Looking at this arithmetic progression, Quaseking must be at least level 45, and there is a high probability that level 50 will be a watershed. ZHE also does not know at what level Pidgeot will evolve. According to his experience and knowledge, his Pidgeot will evolve into Pidgeot at most, if the panel level is increased by 3 or 4 levels. ZHE also closed the panel with a thought, and began to eat the dinner he brought back. Zero is the companion product of Zay's crossing to this world. Although ZHE does not know the specifics, it must be related to the intelligent computer chip implanted in his brain in his previous life. It may be that the chip and the soul have merged into one in the time and space shuttle. ZHE didn't know that he had a chip with him when he came here. It wasn't until he was 11 years old that a voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Energy is full. Start up. He subconsciously called out the name of his previous life's smart chip, Zero, and the panel appeared. ZHE found that, as long as he observed a Pokémon in his field of vision, the panel would automatically display the above information, including the cultivation plan, which was just based on his own knowledge. So for wild Pokémon and Pokémon eggs, Zero could only determine the approximate level and potential, but could not give further plans, because ZHE didn't have a further understanding. Unless it becomes his own Pokémon, after careful cultivation, the data is complete. Zero can give a more specific plan and the mastery of skills. This was enough to make ZHE overjoyed at the time. The Pokémon world relies on creatures such as Pokémon, and there are all kinds of professions, such as researchers, breeders, trainers, etc. There are also various small categories, not to mention, among which the advanced trainer is the profession that everyone aspires to. Zero can undoubtedly help him become an excellent trainer and breeder. As long as he can learn enough knowledge, even if he doesn't know how to operate, Zero can give the most reasonable suggestions. The level display allows him to clearly grasp the progress of his Pokémon's strength, the potential allows him to choose outstanding Pokémon, and the training plan is a basis for him to become stronger. Unfortunately, all this requires money. ZHE also smiled bitterly. Although ZHE has made a lot of money in the 4 years since he came out with his own ability, it is a pity that what he earns is just a drop in the bucket for training Pokémon. ZHE also looked at the Pidgeot outside the door. At first, when ZHE found out that he had a golden finger, he thought he was the center of the world, and his mind was full of quasi-god starts. But soon he calmed down. Not to mention quasi-gods, even the 3 starters issued by the Alliance's direct lineage would not be his turn, and he probably couldn't even get the slightly worse Pokémon eggs. After all, the strong are respected in this world, and a Pokémon with excellent qualifications has a great chance of creating an excellent trainer. Why are quasi-gods so popular? It is because every quasi-god cub can at least reach the level of Quaseking after being cultivated and evolved to the final form. Most of them will eventually become kings, and a few with outstanding talents will have the opportunity to challenge the throne of the champion. This has led to the powerful quasi-god cubs being in the hands of the ruling class of this world. Even if quasi-god eggs appear in the black market, the price is something that ZHE dare not imagine now. As for the 3 major families, they are the elves, that each region sends to its own direct lineage together with the elf illustrations. The basic requirement is to pay 500,000 fees every year for 10 consecutive years, with a clear net worth and a family of senior internal staff of the Alliance. This is simply unrealistic for ZHE. Please collect it, and update it regularly at 8:30 PM. Happy 520! Exclamation mark. Chapter 4 Memories. The 3 main types of Pokémon are water, fire, and grass. Different places have different types. In Kanto, there are Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur. These 3 Pokémon have 3 stages of evolution and have extremely high potential. In addition, the Alliance will have someone to identify the approximate qualifications. The 3 Pokémon in the hands of the direct novice trainers are all excellent and gentle. It is not a problem to cultivate them well to reach the Quasi-King level. In the black market, the price of the 3 Pokémon is not as expensive as the Quasi-God egg. After all, not every talent is excellent, but even so, the market price of a Pokémon egg is more than 2000 W Alliance coins. This price is simply amazing. You must know that as of yesterday, including the money spent, Zay has only earned more than 4.5 million Alliance coins in the past 4 years. It only cost 800,000 Alliance coins to buy this villa, and most of the remaining money was invested in cultivating Pidgeot. Even so, the Pidgeot that Zay has cultivated for more than a year has only entered the elite level not long ago, although it is related to Zay's lack of money to lay the foundation for Pidgeot. Zay fell into memories. Titsuaya's first Pokémon was not the current Pidgeot, but a Rattata. After all, Titsuaya, who had just entered society, only had a scholarship from the league, 10,000 league coins. Although it was enough for him to live for a while and find a job with his own ability, to be frank, this amount of money was nothing if he wanted to become a trainer. Even the cheapest Pokémon eggs on the black market, even if they were caterpillars, cost a high price of 50,000 league coins. Even most of the caterpillars that hatched could not evolve, and their combat power was about 0. On the contrary, it only cost 10,000 league coins to put the captured wild caterpillars in the Pokeball, but such caterpillars did not even have a chance to gamble their lives, and could not evolve at all. If they could evolve into metapods, they would not be so cheap. After all, if they could evolve, they would have evolved long ago according to the growth cycle of insect-type Pokémon. Titsuaya was not willing to give up. In this world, only becoming a trainer would give him a slight chance to change his fate, not to mention that he had a golden finger. So Titsuaya risked his life and entered the evergreen forest alone, wanting to take a gamble. As long as he finds a Pokémon egg, no matter what kind of qualifications he has, Zaya is sure to get through the initial difficulties. Fortunately, after Zaya experienced the tragic events of being chased by a hornworm and driven away by the silk of a caterpillar, he really found an egg left by a Rattata, although his qualifications were only ordinary and could not evolve into a Rattata. After returning to Viridian City to hatch the little Rattata, Zaya, although he did not have the ability to cultivate the little Rattata according to the plan given by Zero, he also took care of it with all his heart. When the little Rattata passed the larval period, Zaya registered as a bounty hunter and began his own journey of making money. Naming himself a mercenary also left himself a memory of the world in his previous life. Although the income was not much, and it was very difficult, Zaya and the little Rattata gradually accumulated some money during the 2 years of adventure. However, there are unexpected events. During an adventure, Zaya and the little Rattata encountered a group of Spearows. In that battle, although Zaya survived, the little Rattata, who was only level 18, still failed to escape the clutches of the large group of Spearows. Zaya was very sad. But elves cannot be resurrected after death unless the Ho-Oh is found. How is that possible? So Zhe had no choice but to go to the black market, ready to rely on his own knowledge and Zero's ability to select an elf with excellent qualifications and start breeding again. The black market, as the name suggests, is a market in the dark, which is not recognized by the Alliance on the surface. After all, the regulations of the Alliance clearly prohibit the trading of elves, including elf eggs. But in this world, as long as the benefits are big enough, many people are willing to take risks to do it, so the black market came into being. Gradually, there are more and more black markets, and the scale is gradually increasing, and it has become an unwritten dark area. Although the Alliance does not support it, it also acquiesces in its existence, because only in this way can the lowest people have a glimmer of hope. Zhe walked in the black market, covering his figure with a black robe, and the people around him were in the same posture. Walking to a stall selling eggs of common Pokémon such as Caterpillar, Hornet, and Pidgeot, Titsuaya asked the stall owner in the same black robe, "How much do you sell Pidgeot eggs for?" The stall owner was not surprised to hear Titsuaya's slightly childish voice. After all, There were too many people like him, and said lightly, the black market has a unified price of 250,000. Tetsuya was not surprised, nor did he think that the stall owner was cheating him. As he said, the entire black market has a unified price for such common Pokémon eggs, and he asked the price just to confirm it again. Although Pidgeot is not strong, and has a gentle personality, and is not suitable for fierce battles, it has evolved as many times as the 3 starter Pokémons, and the final evolution into Pidgeot is not only handsome in appearance, but also powerful. If most of the Pidgeots were not of low qualifications, it would be 1 in 1,000 to evolve into Pidgeot, and it would be even rarer to evolve into Pidgeot, and the price of Pidgeot eggs would have been more than this. Tetsuya seemed to pick up a Pokémon egg casually, and put it in his bag, and took out the anonymous savings card he had prepared in advance and gave it to the stall owner, which was considered a completed transaction. They turned and left. The stall owner didn't care. After confirming that the money in the card was correct, he continued to wait for the next customer. Although he saw that Zaya seemed to be very casual, he actually looked carefully at all his Bobo eggs before choosing, but he didn't think that the eggs produced by the tribe led by Pidgeot could have any good Pokémon. What's more, there is no instrument in the world that can determine the qualifications of Pokémon in eggs. The most powerful qualification appraisers can only simply judge the qualifications through the development, hair, and blood of infant Pokémon. Not to mention this kind of child who can be seen as a commoner at a glance. How could the stall owner think that Zaya had 0, which did not belong to this world? Zaya's heartbeat accelerated wildly, but he was still in the black market. He could only suppress his excitement, and walked back to his rental house at a faster pace than normal people. Back in the rental house, Zaya could no longer hide his excitement. He took out the Pokémon eggs, and shouted wildly in his heart, 0, open the panel of this Pokémon egg in front of you. The blue panel opened immediately, and ZH's attention was fixed on the potential line. It showed 2 words, King. This is a king. ZH almost couldn't help shouting. You know, in the previous 2 years of adventure, the highest aptitude of wild Pokémon that ZH had seen was only Elite, and he had never seen a Quasi-King. ZH never expected that going to the black market out of desperation would give him such a big surprise. Originally, ZH planned to spend a large part of his savings to buy a better Pokémon egg, such as Sandshrew. Choosing an elite aptitude can also evolve into Sandshrew, which is also a relatively good Pokémon. He would leave some money for breeding, and ZH had enough confidence to develop it. But who knew that, as soon as he entered the black market, ZH discovered that this Bobo egg actually had the potential of a king. ZH couldn't believe his eyes at the time, and even thought that there might be something wrong with 0. I usually choose the Pokémon names that I think sound good instead of the official ones. I personally feel that the name of Pidgeot is still much lower than that of Pidgeot. Happy 521. Chapter 5, The Outstanding Bobo and Evolution Stone. But Zero's judgment has never been wrong in the past 3 years, and Zero is based on his own knowledge system. Even if he is wrong, this Pidgeot is at least infinitely close to the king, and has the qualifications of a Quasi-King. And this way, there will be more funds to cultivate Pokémon. ZH also took decisive action, and bought this Pidgeot egg back. And the growth of Pidgeot later also proved that Zero's judgment should not be wrong. Its strength and size are better than those of the same kind. After ZH hatched Pidgeot, he used his savings to carefully cultivate Pidgeot according to the larval cultivation plan given by Zero. Soon, Pidgeot passed the larval stage and entered the ranks of novice Pokémon. At this time, Pidgeot has mastered the collision, cry, sand sweeping and inherited tornado, and also has a more outstanding hidden characteristic, strong chest muscles. This is probably why this Pidgeot has the potential of the king level on Zero's panel. Tornado is a dragon attribute move. ZH also thinks that it may be that some powerful dragon attribute Pokémon combined with Pidgeot or Pidgeot to give birth to it, resulting in it mastering Tornado and having a stronger physical fitness and potential. It is most likely Pidgeot, because the stall owner at that time probably couldn't beat Pidgeot and its tribe. And under ZH's scientific cultivation and excellent qualifications, Pidgeot's size is obviously larger than its peers. But ZHE didn't rush into the forest to take risks to complete the task. After all, although he spent more than 300,000 savings, he saved about 550,000 alliance coins in the past 2 years. There is less than 250,000 left, which is enough for him to train Pidgeot for a while. The experience of Rattata told him that before he has enough strength, he still has to be careful and careful. It is unlikely that he will be lucky enough to meet another ordinary Pokémon with such high qualifications. So ZHE can only train and fight Pidgeot in a safe area on the edge. It was not until Pidgeot reached level 15 and officially left the novice Pokémon and entered the ordinary Pokémon that Zaya looked at his remaining savings and gritted his teeth and officially decided to continue to go to the Bounty Hunter Guild to accept tasks. Even so, Zaya tried his best to restrain himself from accepting relatively higher level tasks to obtain higher returns, and instead chose to do the simplest D-level tasks first, and decided to wait until Pidgeot evolved before accepting the higher level D-level tasks. Soon, in about a month, Pidgeot evolved into Pidgeot during training, and its level also rose to level 18. Zaya gave up E-level tasks. After all, the income was too little. The standard income of an E-level task is less than 3,000 alliance coins, while the D-level task becomes 3,000 to 30,000. The C-level is 30,000 to 100,000, and the B-level is 100,000 to 500,000. ZHE didn't know about A-level and S-level tasks because he had never seen them, probably because his trainer level and hunter authority were not enough. Generally speaking, an ordinary D-level can earn at least 15,000 yuan, and the top E-level tasks are at least 7 or 8, not to mention C-level tasks. Tetsuya and Pidgeot began their real bounty hunting life. Tetsuya came back to his senses, considering Pidgeot's qualifications as a king, because he was struggling with strength and money at the beginning, and did not have too many resources for Pidgeot. Pidgeot's strength progressed very slowly for a while after evolution. Of course, this is only relatively speaking. Compared with its peers, such progress can be said to be very fast. Until later, Pidgeot gradually became stronger to level 25 and was able to complete a small number of C-level tasks. Pidgeot's strength began to increase rapidly under Tetsuya's heavy investment, and it mastered more and more skills. Even so, according to the previous progress, Tetsuya estimated that it would take at least half a year for Pidgeot to evolve into Pidgeot and enter the Quasi King until today. Tetsuya couldn't help but smile when he thought of his gains today. Just from the tasks and extra income, this adventure earned a full 512,000 yuan. After deducting the money for buying things, there was still 500,000 yuan left, which was almost his normal 2 months' income. Not to mention the thing in his backpack. Tetsuya's eyes flashed with a hint of heat. Going upstairs and entering the study, Zay carefully took out the biggest harvest of this time from his backpack, a bright orange-yellow stone with a faint flame symbol on it. It was the rare evolution stone, the Fire Stone. The panel given by Zero showed that its quality was 89 points. You know, the best perfect Fire Stone is only 100 points of quality. This is quite valuable. Zay recalled the purchase post he saw on the Elf forum. Someone offered 20 million yuan to buy a normal Firestone, and it was still priceless. Not to mention the extremely high quality Firestone in his hand. They estimated that his evolution stone could be sold at a high price of at least 40 million alliance coins. You know, fire type elves are very powerful. Using the energy contained in the Firestone for the elves to absorb can quickly and steadily increase the fire energy of the elves and become stronger. Not to mention that Vulpix and Growlithe need Firestones to evolve, making high quality Firestones even more sought after. After all, Windy Dog and Ninetales are handsome and powerful, while the other is noble and elegant. They are both very strong, and are the first choice for the rich. Although I don't know why there is such a thing in the Beedrill's nest, when Zaya found it, he almost fainted with surprise. After seeing that a silly trainer provoked the Beedrill swarm, making the guards of the Beedrill's nest extremely weak, Zaya was also ready to follow the hunter's usual thinking, and get some honey and run away. After all, hunters who share their experiences on the forum will encounter such new trainers every year, and make a fortune. It is not surprising that I encounter one every 4 years. Beedrill honey is the raw material needed for high quality beauty and whitening cosmetics. It can also be used as a tonic alone. It is deeply loved by noble ladies and the market price remains high. Who knew that in the process of collecting honey, Zaya discovered that there was actually a firestone in the nest? This is not a surprise, it is simply a windfall. But how to deal with this firestone is also a problem. Although ZHE also wanted to keep it with him, so as to prepare for the future cultivation of his own fire-type Pokémon. However, ZHE also expected that the fire-type Pokémon of his main team should be Flame Chicken or Charizard, which would not need the Firestone to evolve. It is not impossible to use it to quickly enhance strength, but it seems a bit too extravagant, and there is no money to get the eggs of these two elves for the time being. Unless he sells the Firestone and finds a way to buy a Fire Chick or Charmander egg from the black market, preferably one with excellent qualifications. Anyway, ZHE also has 0 to distinguish. In other words, he can only choose one of the Firestone and Fire Chick or Charmander eggs. Of course, it is also good to use the Firestone to evolve such as Growlithe, but Wild Growlithe is extremely rare and is called a legendary Pokémon. Most of them are controlled by the Junsha family. If you are a civilian, after obtaining a Growlithe, the Junsha family will come to ask you if you are willing to join them. This is also what many people pursue. After all, if you marry into the Junsha and Joai families, those who understand will understand. There is no doubt that for him this is still a distant dream, no matter which one. ZHE was a little hesitant for a while, not knowing how to make a choice. The pace was slow in the early stage, which is also unavoidable. I will gradually work hard to update more. Today 4400. Chapter 6 Choice and Elf Items. ZHE thought for a while and decided to put the Firestone away first. After all, he was not in a hurry to make a final decision whether to keep the Firestone to speed up the growth of the main force in the future, or choose to slowly save money to buy Pokémon eggs, or sell the Firestone to choose a good enough Pokémon, and then slowly save money to cultivate and realize its potential. The difference is not particularly obvious. Now ZHE's primary goal is to try his best to improve Pidgeot's strength, at least to evolve into Pidgeot first. It just so happens that there is extra income today, which can be invested in the cultivation of Pidgeot. After Pidgeot evolves into Pidgeot, ZHE will have enough confidence to complete the more difficult C-level tasks, and even challenge B-level tasks. Cultivating the next Pokémon will not be so tight, and then think about how to deal with this Firestone. Anyway, there is no worry about not being able to sell it. ZHE packed the Firestone and put it in the inner pocket of his clothes. ZHE dare not put such a valuable thing in the safe at home. Who knows if there will be thieves to steal it. Not to mention the stray Pokémons. Pokémons like Meowth are good at stealing things. Then, ZHE opened his Pokémon computer and prepared to take advantage of the time before going to bed to learn from the experience sharing of trainers in the forum. After all, some excellent trainers will post their battle videos on the forum for young trainers to learn from. Of course, there is a fee system, and the price varies according to the level of the trainer. However, the minimum level must be Qua-seeking, that is, trainers with 3 or more Qua-seeking Pokémon, before the forum will open such a service to them. Let's put the video aside for now, and look at it later. ZHE also clicked on the forum, and a bright post was pinned to the top of the homepage by the administrator. Rare items on sale. Self-draft required. There are trainers selling their own games here, most of which are selling portable props. Only a very small number are selling evolution stones, and when you click in to see the pictures, it seems that the quality is not as good as ZHE's Firestone. ZHE habitually looked through to see if there were any new things on sale, and soon, ZHE's eyes lit up. Sharp bird beak for sale, no exchange, private chat with price, clown crawl, is a link to a post selling flying props. Zaya clearly remembered that there was no such post a few days ago. He looked at the posting time, and saw that it was just posted yesterday. It seems that it has not been sold yet. He looked at the amplification effect again, 6%. Zaya frowned slightly. No wonder. Generally, props that increase the power of attribute moves, such as Charcoal and Miracle Seeds, generally have an amplification effect of 5% minus 20%, and the price varies greatly depending on the effect. According to research, basically most props can increase the skill power by 10% or more, which is called normal props, and only a small part is less than 10%, which is called incomplete props. Like this incomplete prop sharp bird beak, with an amplification of 6%. It cannot be said that it does not exist absolutely, but it can only be said to be extremely rare. In a sense, it is also a wonder. Anyway, Zaya has only seen this one in the past 16 years. But it's good to be a wonder. Zaya relaxed his brows. Anyway, this kind of prop will not depreciate. At most, it will be difficult to sell it after buying it and reselling it. With this item, Vegeta can be a little stronger, and the stronger it is, the better, and it can be sold later. If the effect is better, the price will be completely different, and he can only treat it the same as the other props in this post. You can admire it from a distance, but don't touch it. After all, they doesn't have that much money to reserve for such props. Looking at the quotes below, they are all around 1.8 million yuan, and Zay nodded slightly. This is in line with Zay's expectations, because although other props with the same effect have never appeared, props with 8% effect have been sold, and they are basically less than 3 million yuan. Don't think it's exaggerated. You should know that the normal price of props with 10% effect is more than 8 million yuan, and when there are not many, you may not even be able to buy it for 1 million yuan. The price of powerful props such as Dragon's Fang and Curved Spoon with the same effect will double. As for why the price of normal props and incomplete props is more than doubled when the effect is only 1 or 2 percentage points different, it is because research data shows that normal props can effectively increase the power of skills by 1 level, while incomplete props can only increase the power. What does it mean? To put it simply, it is to compare numbers. Originally, there were 2 props of the same type, one with an 8% increase, and the other with a 10%. Assuming the skill power is 60, the power of the former should be 64.8 after the increase, and the latter should be 66. The difference seems small. However, in the actual test process, although there was no error in the data of the object target, problems arose when it came to actual combat exercises. Taking the move offset experiment as an example, while ensuring the accuracy of the data, a control experiment was conducted, which was no carry versus no carry versus 8% increase prop carry, no carry versus 10% increase prop carry, and 8% increase prop carry versus 10% increase prop carry. The results were complete offset. 10% increase prop carry caused a small amount of damage to the opponent, and 10% increase prop carry caused a small amount of damage to the opponent. When the prop with an increase effect of 12% was changed to no carry and 8% increase prop carry, the result was that 12% of the prop moves caused damage. The result of the experiment on the offset of the moves of the props with 12% amplification effect and the props with 10% amplification effect is that the former has a little energy left and basically no damage. This is very confusing. Finally, through the analysis of energy, scholars found that normal props not only enhance the damaging power, but also increase the power of skill levels. In popular terms, normal props change the energy from another level, resulting in the increase of normal props compared to the increase of incomplete props. There is no difference in data, but in actual combat, it can destroy the opponent's moves. Although there are differences between normal props, they are not big, unless the difference in amplification effect is also too large. The above content comes from a researcher's paper at the Oak Research Institute in Pallet Town on the difference in the amplification of moves by normal props and incomplete props. There are also a series of other studies, and ZHE knows the results, but not the reasons. Anyway, he understands that the effect of normal props is more than twice that of incomplete props, which is much higher than the data shows, so of course the price is more than twice as expensive. After all, ZHE is not a student of energy science, so he doesn't understand it very well. Back to the point, Tetsuya sent a message to the seller with a quote. Tetsuya was prepared to spend 2 million and keep 400,000 on himself to buy this bird's beak, although its effect is better than nothing when fighting against trainers. But it would be much easier for Pidgeot to fight wild Pokémon with it, which would help him complete tasks and accumulate funds. However, the seller quickly replied with a message that made Tetsuya's face darken immediately. Come normal update. Chapter 7. I'm the clown in training Pidgeot. Zaya. The clown is actually me. Zaya was completely dumbfounded. No, that's not a problem. Incomplete items are not that valuable, and they only have a 6% effect. Flying items are not that popular. 2 million is a very reasonable price, or even slightly higher. Zaya was a little confused and sent a series of question marks to the seller to find out what was going on. Before the seller could reply, Zaya saw that the post had been updated. Sold, 28 million. Zaya was shocked. Is there anyone who spends so much money on a useless item? This is not treating money as money. Zaya expressed envy, sourness, and disbelief. At this time, the seller also replied to Zaya's message. Sorry, I was too excited just now. You are a trainer, right? 2 million is a high price for trainers, but 2 collectors came up to buy it just now. The 2 of them bid directly to 28 million. Sorry, this person is quite polite, ZHE thought. After reading the seller's reply, ZHE roughly understood what was going on. Pokémon collectors are a group of people who like to collect various special Pokémon or related rare props. Most of them are the richest among the rich. Because money is no longer something to show off, they can only prove their strength by collecting more precious things. It is said that they usually get together to show off their collections. The rarer the item, the more people praise it. ZHE was not thoughtful enough. Although a defective item with 6% effect is tasteless and a pity to a trainer, for a group like collectors, this extremely rare item is very valuable for collection. ZHE smiled bitterly, but he was not too disappointed. Originally, he just wanted to try his best to see if he could buy it, but he didn't expect the collectors to come out halfway and use money to pressure him. It was not bad that he didn't buy it. At least he saved 2 million yuan and could increase his efforts to train Pidgeot. Zay thought angrily in his heart, when he has so much money in the future, he will have to play like this. But wouldn't it be better to have so much money to train Pokémon? Why buy this thing? Zay still couldn't understand the thinking mode of rich people. Zay calmed down and flipped through the entire forum again. He found that it was either a purchase post or a provocative post. For example, this one, fire Pokémon are all losers. If you don't agree, come and argue. Zay clicked into C, and there were indeed a lot of curses below. Are you worthy? Do you have a fire type Pokémon? Poor bastard. It's really a loser. It can only beat the 4 common types of grass, steel worm, and ice. It's so funny. You 1s1. Aren't Charizard and Blaziken handsome? What's wrong with their weaknesses? They are so good looking. Who can't beat a kid at the same time? Doghead, reply to the above. That's true, but I still think Ninetales is stronger, and Vulpix has a gentle personality. The rich person above, Vulpix is rare to begin with, and he doesn't even care about the Firestone. I envy him. ZHE also looked at it, and suddenly found something wrong. As they were cursing, the replies below began to discuss which fire type Pokémon is better, and they kept bringing out evidence to theoretically explain the cultivatability of each fire type Pokémon. ZHE also realized that the person who posted this was fishing. Invalid water post. Does anyone know which fire type Pokémon is suitable for cultivation? The replies below. No, not suitable, costly, not good in the early stage. Valid water post. Fire type Pokémon are all losers. If you don't agree, come and argue. They studied it for a while and found that it was basically common content and views. After a while of boredom, they closed the forum. Opening the video area, Zay looked at the message prompt and found that the latest Quartz conference finals video and the videos of several trainers he followed were updated yesterday, so he paid for all of them and watched them in order with relish. Just these 5 videos cost Zay 1000 alliance coins, but for being able to learn the command of excellent trainers, Zay didn't feel bad at all. Not to mention that he occasionally looked at the research results of the researchers' papers. 5,000 at a time without explanation, which was even more expensive. These are all necessary expenses. There was no conversation that night. In the early morning, a soft breeze blew, sweeping across the entire Viridian city with the fresh breath of the Viridian forest. The rising sun in the distance seemed particularly soft, implying the arrival of a new day. It was the time when spring and summer met, and the weather was quite cool. Zay was wearing a black sleeveless top and doing daily physical exercises in the back garden. A qualified trainer slash bounty hunter must have a good physical fitness so that he can have a chance to survive in the most dangerous time. This is the experience that Tetsuya has gained from his life over the years. Hot sweat kept coming out of his sword-like face and his angular figure that was revealed through his clothes, and it also wet Tetsuya's brown hair. After Tetsuya finished the last set of exercises, he took a long breath and wiped his sweat with the towel hanging around his neck. He released Pidgeot casually. "Pidgeot, you can move freely for a while. If you are hungry, eat some tree fruits first. I'm going to take a shower." The released Pidgeot responded to its trainer and flew into the sky with a flap of its wings. Tetsuya walked into the house and started to take a shower. After taking a shower, Tetsuya came out wiping his hair. Wearing only a pair of light blue casual shorts, Tetsuya, with his naked and strong body, showed the unique charm of a teenager. Putting on a sweatshirt, Tetsuya walked outside. At this time, Pidgeot had returned and was staying on the branches of the fruit tree in the backyard. Pidgeot saw its trainer coming out and waved its wings to greet him. "Good morning, good morning. Today's training will start soon." Tetsuya responded with a smile. Pidgeot waved its wings to indicate that it was ready. "Then the first step is to warm up. Today is still 120 miles. Meet at the old place." Tetsuya took out the weight and said to Pidgeot. Pidgeot obediently flew to Tetsuya and let Tetsuya install the weight equipment on its body. After fixing the equipment, Pidgeot spread its wings and flew into the sky to start the first training of the day. Tetsuya stretched his body and followed behind and ran slowly. 120 miles is actually just a normal distance for Pidgeot now. After all, the territory of wild Pidgeot can be 60 miles. It only takes about 25 minutes for Tetsuya's Pidgeot to complete the warm-up with weights. If there is no weight, this time can be reduced to 15 minutes. The evolved Pidgeot will be even more exaggerated. Even a wild Pidgeot can reach a speed close to Mach 2. ZHE is looking forward to how fast his Pidgeot will be after it evolves. As for whether Pidgeot will be lazy, in this world, the idea of Pokémon becoming stronger is engraved in their genes, and this kind of thing will basically not happen. Moreover, ZHE and Zero can effectively display the results of training through data analysis, so there is no need to worry. As for ZHE, this time is just enough to run slowly without sweating, just enough to run 6 or 7 kilometers to the place where Pidgeot is trained daily. Don't think it's exaggerated. After all, the physical fitness of the Pokémon world is basically at the monster level, not to mention that ZHE has been actively exercising. This distance is just casual for ZHE. Breathing in the fresh air, ZHE jogged all the way to the place where he trains daily. This place is close to the junction of Viridian Forest and Viridian City, but it is very remote and surrounded by dense trees. ZHE stretched his body on the spot and waited for a while. Pidgeot landed on the open space with a cry. "Okay, warm-up is over. Next is flexibility training." Tetsuya walked up to help Pidgeot take off the weight. "It's the same. Use high speed to move quickly in the jungle ahead." Tetsuya waved his hand and started the next round of training without waiting for Pidgeot to rest for a while. Tetsuya knew Pidgeot's endurance very well. Pidgeot was also very conscious and started the next training skillfully as soon as it took off the weight. I saw a yellow shadow flying quickly in the jungle. Occasionally, it hit the tree trunk because of the high speed and quickly readjusted itself and continued to fly. Tetsuya took out the computer and kept modifying the data according to Pidgeot's condition. After an hour, "Okay, you can take a break." Tetsuya called out to stop Pidgeot, who had become a little slow. Pidgeot landed next to Tetsuya panting. Tetsuya took out the wound medicine and sprayed a little on the place where Pidgeot was scratched. "Let's take a break and then do the next training." Pidgeot looked at its trainer with resentment. Although it was used to it, it was still inevitable to be tired. They smiled and took out the pomelo fruit he brought with him and gave it to Pidgeot. Pidgeot's eyes lit up and he started eating quickly. Pomelo fruit is a variant of orange fruit. The taste of the two is not much different, but the former has a better effect on restoring physical strength and is more expensive. He made a big profit yesterday, otherwise they would not have given Pidgeot to eat pomelo fruit. Usually, he eats orange fruit to recover most of the time. After eating the pomelo fruit, it was almost time, and Pidgeot started the next training. It was not until noon, when the sun was hanging in the sky and the bright sunlight made it difficult for people to open their eyes, that they asked Pidgeot to stop completely. Back home, they didn't care about his own hunger. First, according to the morning training, according to Zero's plan, he prepared lunch for Pidgeot in a targeted manner. Only in this way could the training be truly meaningful, otherwise it would just be a simple consumption. When Pidgeot started eating, they walked into the kitchen, took out the steak from the refrigerator, and started to grill it. Soon, Zaya came to the dining table with a plate of steak and a glass of milk in his right hand, and started to eat his lunch. This morning, Zaya spent more than 10,000 Alliance coins, including the glass of milk in the big can that he drank, which of course only cost 500 Alliance coins. The bulk of the money was spent on nutritional supplements for Pidgeot. In the afternoon, it was battle training. Zaya and Pidgeot constantly challenged trainers and their Pokémon in the battlefield of the Pokémon Center, and responded to Miss Joy from time to time. In the evening, they went to the mall to purchase various items and enjoyed dinner, and the day's training was over. 2 weeks passed in this way, and Pidgeot's level successfully rose to level 36. At the same time, Zaya, who had finished training, smiled bitterly at his rapidly shrinking wallet 3k for 2 days, and tomorrow will be the same. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8: Cleanup Tasks and Variables. In this short period of less than half a month, ZHE also successfully spent 500,000 Alliance coins. He spent all the extra income from the previous time. It was the first time for ZHE to spend so much money at once. Of course, the result was good. The speed of upgrading Pidgeot to level 36 was more than twice as fast as the normal cultivation before, without spending these 500,000 Alliance coins. ZHE also had a hunch that Pidgeot might be only one step away from evolution. However, looking at the data analyzed by himself on the computer in front of him, as well as the data and cultivation plan given by Zero, it showed that Pidgeot's progress had basically stopped so far. ZHE also felt that it might be missing something. After all, the evolution of elves is a magical process, and no one knows how to successfully evolve. It may be a lack of energy, a lack of the stimulation of fighting, or the influence of the subjective will of the elves, and so on. Then he would do some tasks to earn some funds, and wait for the opportunity to come. ZHE was very calm. It is not so easy to evolve into Pidgeot, even if his Pidgeot's qualifications among its kind can be said to be 1 in a million and outstanding. Besides, there are so many Pidgeots in the world that have not evolved successfully. There is no use in being anxious. The experiences given by many senior trainers in the forum and the solutions in the books are to let nature take its course. Some Pokémon evolve while eating, some Pokémon evolve naturally during training, and some Pokémon evolve after a hard battle. There are precedents for this. Anyway, ZHE is full of confidence in himself and Pidgeot. At least it will not be like some Pokémon that cannot evolve to the final form for several months or even years. The qualifications and investment are there. ZHE took Pidgeot to the Pokémon Center to reply and solved the lunch for one person and one pet at the Pokémon Center. He put Pidgeot into the Pokéball casually and walked to the Bounty Hunter Center next to him, ready to see if there are any tasks to take to relieve his financial pressure. Walking to the task hall, ZHE inserted his ID card into the machine port as usual and began to browse the tasks. Task number 19,789,170,519. Mission level, B level. Mission requirements: a freshly shed ape monster snake skin, up to 1 week. Mission reward: 250,000 to 400,000 Alliance coins. Quality identified by a dedicated person. Long-term acquisition. Task number 28,798,579,871. Mission level, B level. Mission requirements, more than 50 venomous tail needles of giant bees. Mission reward, 2100 alliance coin/root. Long-term acquisition, small quantities, please do not disturb. Task number 67,846,169,849. Mission level, C level. Mission requirements, 300 milliliters of stinking flower saliva. Mission reward, 35,000 alliance coins. Long-term acquisition, small quantities, please do not disturb. Task number 69,657,462,445. Mission level, C level. Mission requirements, protect suburban farms from harassment by elves, at least 3 days. Mission reward, 10,000 alliance coins/day. Long-term validity, mission number 76,466,400,178. Mission level, C level. Mission requirements, 100g red heart grass. Mission reward, 40,000 alliance coins. Countdown 1 day. Mission number 78,074,861,986. Mission level, C level. Mission requirements, clear the green caterpillar group beside the main road in Evergreen Forest. The highest strength is about the peak of the ordinary bar daily. A total of 4. Mission reward, 70,000 alliance coins. Countdown 11 hours. Most long-term missions are too time consuming. So for Zaya, the efficiency of benefits is not as good as temporary missions. Missions like the Abe monster snake shedding are good, but it's a pity that Zaya can't beat such a fierce hunter. Zaya focused on the 2 temporary missions he had his eyes on. After thinking for a while, Zaya still took the second clearing mission. Because such a group is just right for Pidgeot to deal with. The first mission is simple, but takes a long time, and has little benefit. ZHE also wanted to see the progress of Pidgeot in the past few days. Although it can be roughly seen from the data and the battles with the trainer, it is not as intuitive as the fierce battle in the wild. It is a pity that only one task of the same level as the hunter level can be accepted at the same time. You can accept up to 3 tasks of a lower level, otherwise you can do it at will. ZHE is also used to this rule, mainly to prevent one person from accepting too many tasks at the same time, and leaving others with nothing to do. You ask why not collect it during the cleanup, come back to hand in the cleanup task, and then take the collection task, and submit it directly. To play this kind of tricky operation, well, other hunters are not stupid. There are still many people who are willing to accept this kind of collection task. It seems that no one has accepted it, because it was just posted. When ZHE came back, after completing this series of actions, the task was gone. After accepting the task and successfully entering the information, ZHE pulled out his ID card and walked out. Because he carried various medicines and props with him during the training in the morning, he didn't need to prepare them specially. ZHE opened his Pokémon watch, and the activity location, where the task target was located, had been transmitted to his personal map. Walking along the main road, we soon arrived at the approximate location of the green caterpillar group. Tetsuya hid behind a tree, and observed the location and number of this group of Pokémon. Butterfree was collecting nectar. They should have just migrated here. This location is indeed too close to the road, and it is easy to attack passers-by. Tetsuya analyzed. Don't think that Butterfree is docile. Butterfree's wings are covered with highly toxic scale powder that can bounce off water droplets. When Butterfree forcefully vibrates its wings, the scale powder will spread into the air, and if inhaled, you will feel uncomfortable. Sometimes other powders are also mixed in, which may cause drowsiness or paralysis. This is not a good thing. For the human body, the threat of Pokémon is still very large. If you are not careful, you will lose your life. Tetsuya released Pidgeot, and made a gesture. Pidgeot understood, spread its wings, and flew into the air and hovered. Tetsuya used Zero to observe the information of the entire group. It was similar to the task given. Only 3 Butterfrees had reached the peak of ordinary strength. Tetsuya frowned. An unexpected situation occurred. One of the Butterfree Zeros was judged to be an elite. It was probably that one Butterfree had just broken through. After all, its potential was just the only elite level, which was not surprising, but it was a bit troublesome for Tetsuya. If there were only 4 ordinary peak Butterfrees, even with more than 20 dispensable caterpillars and metapods harassing, Pidgeot would be able to deal with it. Tetsuya wanted to give up this mission. At most, he could not accept another mission within 3 days. After all, it would not be so easy for Pidgeot to deal with a Butterfree that had just entered the elite level and 3 ordinary peak Butterfrees. Tetsuya frowned. If Pidgeot's strength had not improved a lot, he would never dare to accept such a mission before breaking through the elite level. There were too many variables. This mission happened to encounter a wild Butterfree at the elite level. Speaking of which, this was the first time that Tetsuya encountered such a strong wild Pokémon, and it was in such a peripheral place close to Viridian City. After a quick calculation, an elite level Butterfree can be sold for 1 million yuan on the black market. If this Butterfree can also use telekinesis, it can be sold for 2 million yuan. Tetsuya gritted his teeth and did it. Although it was dangerous, the enemy was in the open, and I was in the dark. If I took the initiative to find an opportunity to kill 2 Butterfrees, I would have a great chance. Tetsuya first withdrew a distance and summoned Pidgeot back to his side. One person and one elf walked around the group carefully, constantly looking for opportunities to take action. The 4 Butterfrees were completely unaware that a hunter was secretly spying on them, and they were leisurely collecting nectar. Getting farther and farther, the 4 Butterfrees collected their own food in groups of 2, and the distance between them kept widening. Tetsuya and Pidgeot quietly followed behind the 2 Butterfrees who were only at the peak of ordinary strength. Seeing that the other 2 Butterfrees were no longer in sight, Tetsuya decisively commanded Pidgeot to move forward, get close in a flash, and then use the wing attack to make a quick decision. Yes, after training, Pidgeot has successfully mastered the wing attack, which is extremely powerful. Pidgeot crashed into the 2 Butterfrees with a glimmer of light, knocking them to the ground. Then Pidgeot made a clever turn in the air, vibrating its wings, gathering white energy on its wings, and then attacked Butterfrees. At this time, Butterfrees had just climbed up from the attack. Still struggling to flap its wings, Pidgeot spread its large wings, carrying huge kinetic energy and the flying energy on its wings, and shuttled through the 2 Butterfrees. Bang! The 2 Butterfrees were directly blown away by Pidgeot. Zay was merciless, move at high speed, hit them and completely kill them. Pidgeot immediately activated the skill, and its whole body became light, and it quickly crashed into the 2 Butterfrees that could no longer stand up. Bang! Bang! 2 dull sounds rang out in succession. The 2 Butterfrees didn't even have the chance to release their skills to resist, and they completely lost their fighting ability and fell unconscious. Tetsuya looked at Pidgeot's series of dazzling movements and nodded with great satisfaction. Wing attack can be regarded as making up for some of Pidgeot's current shortcomings. Although it was fast before, it didn't have many attack moves. The preparation time of Tornado was too long, and the other damage was not so high, so it was difficult to quickly resolve the battle. So last time Tetsuya encountered Beedrill, he could only fight and retreat, constantly consuming. If it were now, with the help of wing attack, he could easily deal with 5/6 Beedrills around level 20. Tetsuya threw out the Pokeball and put the 2 Butterfrees in it. This is one of the credentials for the mission. Putting the shrunken Pokeball into the backpack, Tetsuya fed Pidgeot an orange fruit to restore the physical strength it had just lost, and quietly returned to the nest of the Butterfree tribe. Now there is only one elite level Butterfree and an ordinary peak level Butterfree left. Tetsuya patiently waited for them to return to the nest, ready to seize the opportunity and make a fatal blow. The power of the moves is not completely based on the game data. After all, it is a bit awkward that a tornado with a power of 40 has a hit of 50. Although it is the difference between a group attack and a single attack, the setting is to have dragon attributes. The greater the power, the more power needs to be charged. Also because of the dragon attribute, the enemy will be put into a cowering state. Chapter 9 Evolve. Pidgeot. Soon, the other 2 Butterfrees came back. With his good eyesight, Tetsuya could see Butterfrees returning to their nests from a distance. He whispered something to Pidgeot and then slowly began to retreat. Pidgeot was flapping its wings in the air, and the wind was getting stronger and stronger. At first, there were only two tiny whirlwinds between its wings. As Pidgeot accumulated power, the whirlwinds began to grow larger and formed two violent whirlwinds. This was not over yet. As the wings closed and exerted force, the two whirlwinds began to gradually mix together. Pidgeot spread its wings, and the two whirlwinds flew towards Butterfreeze with a whistle. They completely merged in the air and turned into a violent tornado. The text description of this scene is very slow, but in fact the whole process took more than 3 seconds. The two Butterfrees had just reacted when the wind force of the tornado pulled them unable to move, and they could only be sucked into it. The wind was howling, and the dust filled the sky. After a while, the dust dissipated. Tetsuya looked closely and saw that the ordinary level Butterfree had fainted on the ground, while the elite level Butterfree was panting, with a purple light still on its body. Tetsuya's eyes flashed. It was the energy fluctuation of telekinesis. This Butterfree really mastered telekinesis. Before he could feel happy about it, Tetsuya quickly commanded Pidgeot, rush forward with a flash of lightning, and be careful to avoid the powder. Pidgeot crashed into Butterfree with a glimmer of light, and Butterfree would certainly not just sit there and wait for death. It even felt a little puzzled until now. A human with Pidgeot suddenly attacked its tribe, and it was also deeply hurt. But this had nothing to do with fighting, and Butterfree's wild instinct made it shake out a bunch of purple powder and sprinkle it towards Pidgeot, while its body struggled to dodge backwards. Pidgeot drew an arc in the air, using the wind to blow away and avoid the attack of the poisonous powder, and directly crashed into Butterfree. Butterfree screamed, but did not give up struggling. The two tentacles on Butterfree's head emitted bright purple light and acted on Pidgeot. It was a telekinetic move. Pidgeot felt a tightness on his body and was unable to move. Try to spin your body to break free, and then use your wings to attack. Tetsuya was not panicked at all and directed Pidgeot to attack next. Butterfree's telekinetic control was just a dying struggle, and the force could only control Pidgeot for a short time. As soon as Pidgeot used force to spin its body, Butterfree could no longer be controlled. After Pidgeot broke free from the telekinesis, it directly hit Butterfree's body with its wings emitting white light. Bang! Butterfree was slapped to the ground and lost its ability to fight. Tetsuya ran over and quickly threw a Pokeball to Butterfree. Without a struggle, the telekinetic Butterfree was taken in. Tetsuya breathed a sigh of relief. This was a walking 2 million. He put another Butterfree into the Pokeball. The task was basically completed. He just needed to catch another ordinary Butterfree to replace the telekinetic one. Go and finish your meal, Tetsuya said with a smile, looking at Pidgeot, who was only slightly tired after the battle. Although Pidgeot's improvement was within Tetsuya's expectations, his performance this time still surprised him. The mastery of the skill of wing attack made Pidgeot's entire fighting method more reasonable, and there was no need to worry about the problem of no close range attack methods. Before the wing attack, even if it chose to fight in this way, it would eventually have to rely on lightning flashes to slowly grind, because it had no fatal attack method. This was not only inefficient, but also more likely for Pidgeot to be injured, and it would not be as easy as it is now. Tetsuya looked at Pidgeot, who went to the green caterpillar group to enjoy his meal, and smiled like an old father. Soon, Pidgeot finished the meal. Of course, most of the green caterpillars ran away, and Tetsuya was too lazy to care. 4 Butterfrees were captured, and the remaining caterpillars were all beginners, ordinary, or even juveniles, and they could not survive here. They would either be destroyed by other Pokémons or find a new group to live in. Anyway, the mission only required the cleaning of this area. He had done it before, so Tetsuya was familiar with it. Tetsuya and Pidgeot found a lone ordinary Butterfree in the evergreen forest, and easily put it into the Pokeball to go back and hand in the mission. Just as Tetsuya was about to put away Pidgeot and start the return journey, white light suddenly began to emerge from Pidgeot's body, and then enveloped its entire body. Tetsuya's eyes widened. This was Pidgeot's evolution. Although he had thought of various situations of evolution, Tetsuya never expected that the evolution would come so suddenly. When he was about to embark on the journey home, he was given an unexpected surprise. Tetsuya looked nervously at the white light that had already become a ball. Soon, the white light dissipated, and a handsome Pidgeot appeared in front of Tetsuya. The appearance of Pidgeot is very similar to that of Pidgeot, but it is larger, with a wider wingspan and shorter claws, just like an eagle. It has brown feathers, a cream-colored body, and red feathers on its head with yellow in the middle. It is long enough to flutter in the air, making it look particularly majestic. The gorgeous wings can not only act as a deterrent, but also can stir up a huge storm. Its eyes also reveal a kingly demeanor. Zaya hugged Pidgeot excitedly. "Well done, Pidgeot." Beep Pidgeot also responded to his master's joy with a cry. Zaya asked Pidgeot to guard him, and called out Zero's panel. Pidgeot category, bird Pokémon attributes, normal/flying height 1.85 meters, average is 1.5 meters, weight 45 kilograms, average is 39.5 kilograms. Characteristics, sharp eyes. Thanks to the sharp eyes, the hit rate will not be reduced. Hidden characteristics, strong chest muscles, will not be affected by the effect of reduced defense, and Pokémon with this characteristic will be stronger than their peers. Skills, impact, call, peck, sand blowing, wind, lightning flash, blow flying, feather dance, high speed movement, tornado, inherited, wing attack, feather perch, air slash, shadow clone. Swallow return level, level 38, elite, potential, king cultivation plan. It is recommended to conduct targeted intensive training on the wings of this Pokémon, massage, and relaxation after weight training. The specific methods are as follows. It is recommended to strengthen the reaction speed, assisted by nerve potion. The formula is as follows. 30g green spirit grass. It is recommended to strengthen bone strength, supplemented with a bone strengthening diet. The formula is as follows. 20g of Gala Gala's bone, 50g of milk from a large milk can. Zaya looked at the panel, and was so excited, that he couldn't speak. Pidgeot evolved from Pidgeot, and its size and strength can be said to have undergone a drastic change. I'm sending a short message here. Please collect, recommend, and invest. Be happy. I can sign it for the first time I write it. Chapter 10. Powerful Pidgeot and Conflict. The most intuitive thing is that the level has directly increased by 2 levels. It is estimated that it absorbed the energy left in the body during the previous training. Secondly, it is the change in body shape. Good training and outstanding potential also make Pidgeot much higher than the average level of its peers. The strong chest muscles make Pidgeot look very strong and its weight is far higher. Now when Pidgeot stands on the ground, his height is a little taller than Titsuaya, not to mention that after opening his wings, he can directly wrap Titsuaya inside, which looks extremely huge and magnificent. Finally, Pidgeot has mastered 4 new skills, Feather Perch, Air Slash, Shadow Clone, and Swallow Return. It can be said that each skill is extremely critical to the improvement of Pidgeot's strength. Feather Perch can restore health and eliminate the attribute of flying. It can be used to reduce the damage of the electric system when necessary. Air Slash uses wings to swing air blades. It is a medium and long range attack, and its power is also quite good, which makes up for the dilemma of Pidgeot's lack of attack power and insufficient 3-dimensional attack distance. Shadow Clone is an excellent move that disrupts the opponent's evasion skills, not to mention Swallow Return. With various skills and training, Pidgeot's huge body will fight with incredible agility and flexibility, making the enemy overwhelmed. Titsuaya made a preliminary estimate. Although the level of the current Pidgeot has only increased by 2 levels, it is estimated that it is easy to fight 4 or 5 Pidgeots. Titsuaya restrained his excitement. After all, Pidgeot had just evolved, and still needed to go to the Pokémon Center for a complete check. Although there was Zero's data, it was still just in case. Titsuaya hurriedly put Pidgeot into the Pokéball, and trotted all the way to the Pokémon Center. Hello, Trainer Tamaki, your Pokémon has been checked and everything is normal. It has developed very well. Congratulations on finally evolving into Pidgeot. Joey congratulated Titsuaya with a sweet smile, and after confirming his identity, he handed the Pokéball containing Pidgeot to Titsuaya. Titsuaya smiled at Joey and said, "Thank you, Miss Joey, for your hard work." Joey smiled and nodded, indicating that you're welcome, and Titsuaya turned and left. Joey looked at Titsuaya who was going away, looked at his identity information, and made a simple mark. After all, according to the records of the Joey family, once a Pokémon like Pidgeot can evolve to its final form, Pidgeot, it has the potential to break through to the Quasi-King. This means that, even if Tetsuya has no talent, relying on Pidgeot alone, he can at least become a senior elite trainer in the future. If he is lucky, Pidgeot will have higher potential, and will be even stronger in the future. Moreover, Tetsuya is very young, and was born an orphan. He evolved Pidgeot into Pidgeot after more than a year of training. This shows that he is not only lucky, but also a genius trainer. In addition, when Joey was doing the examination, he found that Pidgeot was taken care of very well, which shows that Tetsuya is also talented in training, and Joey admires Tetsuya's attitude towards Pokémon. Even if he is a civilian born as an orphan, Tetsuya has a good chance of becoming a Quasi-King or even a king, considering the above considerations. It is natural for someone with the potential to become a superstar to keep a record for future investment, even if the probability is low. Joey was just completing the family's task, and then he started to get busy. ZHE was completely unaware that Joey had already marked him as a potential trainer. At this time, he was still calculating his gains. I've been lucky recently. I made a lot of money from this task, ZHE sighed. After submitting the task, he did not get the task income immediately. He still needed to wait for about 2 hours for it to be credited to his account. For this kind of cleaning task, in addition to recovering the designated leader Pokémon, the Hunter Center will also send people to investigate, and it takes time to go back and forth. This kind of loophole also appeared at the beginning. Someone casually caught a few required Pokémon and handed them in as leader Pokémon. Later, it was discovered that they had not cleaned up at all. Since then, it has become a matter of confirmation by a special person. But ZHE had already cleaned up anyway, so he was not panicked at all and waited quietly for the sound of the transfer. But first ZHE had to go to the black market to sell the telekinetic Butterfree he had just caught. This was the biggest gain this time. Wearing the same black robe, Zaya entered the black market and rented a temporary stall for 1 hour at the black market management office for 1000 alliance coins. Although Zaya was not poor, he still felt distressed. It was really expensive. Don't think it's strange that a black market has a management office. After all, this kind of transaction that can't be put on the surface needs more order. Besides, it's very profitable. Many families don't even have the strength to do it. He hurried to the stall and took out the Pokeball containing Butterfree and put it on the table. On a piece of wood next to it, he wrote Butterfree, Elite Level, Master Telekinesis, 1 hour auction, the highest bidder wins, reserve price 1.2 million. Concise and to the point. Although Zaya has never really sold it, he has often come to the black market for free in recent years, so he still understands the basic situation. Elite Butterfree like this telekinesis is not common in the black market, and auctioning is a solution to maximize profits. Zaya sat behind the stall calmly, waiting for the rich to come. Soon, Zaya's stall attracted the attention of others. One after another, the black-robed people skillfully left their prices in front of the stall. 122W, 125W, 130W, 132W. Only half an hour later, the price soared to 160W. Another half an hour later, Zaya returned the stall from the black market management office with a smile on his face and returned to his home. Oh yeah. As soon as he got home, Zay couldn't suppress his excitement and started cheering. 220W. This is the final price. Zay originally expected to sell it for about 2 million, maybe around 1.9 million, but he didn't expect to sell it for a high price of 2.2 million. Zay sat on the sofa and laughed at his balance. At this time, the 70,000 alliance coins for the cleanup task also arrived, and Zay didn't feel the slightest fluctuation in his heart. It was just a small amount of money. Zay began to swell a little. This bright figure was more intuitive than the Firestone. But he soon calmed down. After all, this amount of money plus his previous savings was only about 4 million. It's not even enough to buy 1/5 of a Charmander egg. Zay restrained himself and began to think. They didn't plan to breed a second Pokémon now, but after making this fortune and evolving Pidgeot, Zay's plan can be advanced. because in this way, even if he uses the money from selling the Firestone to exchange for Pokémon eggs, he will have enough savings and strength to breed the next Pokémon, forming a virtuous circle. The question now is, which Pokémon should he choose as his second Pokémon? After Zay finished dinner for himself and Pidgeot, he slowly walked upstairs and began to think, which one should I choose? PS. Starting from next week, there will be 2 updates of 4,000 words on weekdays and 2 updates of 6,000 words on weekends. The update time will be postponed to around 10:15 PM. In addition, the inherited skills here are not strictly based on laying eggs and egg groups. After all, there is a difference between the real world and the game. Laughs. And the concept of skill machines is not introduced. To put it simply, the skills increase with the improvement of levels, or you can master them by finding an elf who knows a certain skill to guide you for a period of time, if you have the talent and the possibility to learn it, as long as it is reasonable. I hope some gamers will not dwell on why Popo can inherit the tornado. After all, sometimes reality is unreasonable. Chapter 11 Planning and Selling the Firestone. ZHE also pondered for a moment, turned on the computer, and began to plan. This world is a real world. A single attribute team will have an advantage in training and fighting in the early stage. That is, the training methods and resources are relatively unified, and the fighting methods are relatively simple. Therefore, some general elite trainers will choose to train Pokémon of one attribute to strengthen their strength. After all, although the training methods are different, they are basically the same, so that they can form combat power more quickly. However, the more powerful the trainer, the less likely he will only train Pokémon of one attribute. Even if it is a dragon attribute, it is matched with various secondary attributes. There are many reasons. The first is the resource problem. It is difficult to guarantee that you can provide at least 6 main Pokémon of the same attribute with enough training resources. After all, the materials obtained in the adventure are various, and it is difficult to guarantee that they are all needed by the attribute you are training. Even if they are exchanged with each other, it is difficult to gather them. Especially for those powerful Pokémon, the materials needed for training are not so easy to get, and money is another matter. The second is the tactical problem. The tactics of trainers with a single attribute are also relatively simple, not to mention that attribute restraint is also an issue that cannot be ignored. When the strength difference is not big, the attribute is one of the key hands to determine the victory or defeat. A certain flying type king explained this point very well. In addition, it is difficult to guarantee the comprehensiveness of Pokémon with a single attribute, especially for people like trainers who live in the wild. Incompleteness means insecurity, which means death. According to Tetsua's idea, he used the team configuration of the game he played in his previous life to simply divide the Pokémon he wanted to choose. To put it simply, it is tank, assassin, warrior, magic, and priest, but it is not so clear. For example, for the priest, although Tetsua also wants to have a happy egg to cultivate as a doctor in the team, under the control of the Joy family, this can't even be called a dream, it's almost a delusion. So Tetsuya thinks that he should learn more about the relevant knowledge and be a human nurse. As for Pokémon that can heal waves, it's not that there are none, such as Gardevoir, which is the first of Tetsuya's top 10 Pokémon that he absolutely wants to obtain. But the difficulty, although it is definitely easier than Happy Egg, it is not much better. So the position of the priest is almost equal to nothing. Unless Tetsuya is extremely lucky, he can only wait for a long time. Tetsuya first thought about the position of Pidgeot in the middle of the team, and felt that Pidgeot might still be an assassin with insufficient damage. Pidgeot can use lightning flashes and various skills to hit the enemy with speed, and then leave after one hit. At the same time, Pidgeot's medium and long range attacks are not weak, and can have the effect of long range harassment, causing damage while keeping a distance. In the wild, Pidgeot can be used as an excellent vehicle and scout for movement and search. However, the damage is still relatively weak. When it learns skills such as Tailwind and Divine Bird in the future, Pidgeot can be regarded as a real one-hit kill method for enemies of the same level, but it is not enough now. Therefore, ZHE also thinks that his second Pokémon now needs a role similar to a warrior, who can face the enemy head-on, has excellent melee ability and strong resistance, and can quickly solve the enemy. In this way, the range of choices is much smaller, and ZHE also frowned and scribbled on his computer. Because of melee, it is best to have fighting attributes, and at least fighting moves. In this way, it seems that Lucario's degenerated Lilio is the most suitable, but it is too difficult, so let's talk about it later. Nidoking is also good, but it's a pity that it needs a Moonstone to evolve, which is more expensive than a Firestone. Pass. Scyther is too fragile. Pass. Same with Magma. Poliwag. Pass. Same reason with Nidoking. Raiden is good, but although Tetsuya knows that it evolves from Raiden, he doesn't know much about the specific operation, which is not public knowledge, so he can only pass. Same with Super Strength. Forget Snorlax, forget it, can't afford it, really can't afford it. Tetsuya kept eliminating options one by one, and finally found that he only had 2 options left, Electabuzz and Blaziken. It's not that only these 2 meet the requirements, but Tetsuya selectively eliminated some options, such as a B, Fast Punch Lang. The reason is that Tetsuya doesn't like it, not handsome enough, well, nothing else. As for Electabuzz, it is one of the few Pokémon that Tetsuya knew how to evolve in his previous life. After all, Tetsuya thinks it is handsome enough, so he specially went to find out that it is an evolution of Electabuzz carrying a power amplifier. Although the market price of the power amplifier is not cheap, it is not so high that it makes people smack their heads. Tetsuya estimated that ordinary trainers did not know that the power amplifier could make Electabuzz evolve into Electabuzz, and those who knew about it were unwilling to buy the power amplifier at a high price. After all, that would make people suspicious, so the price of the power amplifier remained in this state of neither rising nor falling. This is good news for Tetsuya. Overall, the investment in cultivating either Electabuzz or Firechick is similar. Electabuzz eggs are cheaper, but they require power amplifiers. Firechick eggs are more expensive, but they do not require any additional materials to evolve, and can be cultivated normally. Tetsuya stretched and looked at the time. It took an hour to simply select. It was already past 9 o'clock. After all, there were too many types of Pokémon. After closing the computer, Tetsuya took a bath and went to bed. Tomorrow he would get up early to exercise, sell the Firestone, and go to the black market. It was really busy. Zaire thought in a daze. His mind was in a mess, and then he fell into a deep sleep. Zaire walked out of the bathroom after a night of silence. He had just finished his morning exercise today. After putting away the breakfast Pidgeot, Zaire walked slowly towards the trading center and the city center. The trading center and the bounty hunter center are located on the left and right sides of the Pokémon center. Unlike the hunter's mission goal of buying various raw materials for making items, most of the materials in the trading center are the cultivation materials needed by trainers. Walking into the hall, a huge screen came into view, which was densely packed with exchange information and purchase information from various trainers. Below were computers, and trainers with intentions could search for keywords in real time to trade and exchange. The Pokémon forum is only for information exchange and the conclusion of preliminary trading intentions. Private transactions are of course possible, but you need to bear the same risks yourself. Most trainers still choose to come to the trading center to complete the transaction, even if they need to pay a 1% guarantee fee, but this is much better than being deceived. ZHE first went to the appraisal counter to have the concentration of his Firestone appraised, then took the appraisal certificate and uploaded it to the back end of the trading center to start publishing information. 89 quality Firestone for sale. Payment can be made in cash or cash plus materials, electricity, or fire. ZHE then went to the waiting area to check the forum and wait for quotes. It seems that the game requires the exchange of power amplifiers to evolve, but the setting here is slightly changed. Please recommend and collect. In addition, starting next week, I will add more chapters based on the data. You can comment at any time. I'm often here. Woo woo woo. I just saw the first reader award, and I will add another chapter at 9 o'clock in half an hour. Added at 2023. Chapter 12 High Prices and a Trip to the Black Market Store. High quality Firestone is definitely the most popular among the popular goods. Zay had just been on the elf forum for a minute when his elf watch began to ring continuously, prompting that the quotation was being sent through the background. Although Zay had been prepared, he was still shocked. Looking at the message prompt of 99 plus directly in his trading background, Zay was a little confused. With a frown, Zay felt that this was not normal. After all, even if high quality firestone is rare, there would not be so many people who want to buy it, or there are not so many rich people. Zay clicked on the background. His face darkened, as expected. 1000 W plus a 10% effective charcoal. With quotation, 2000 W can't be more good brother. With quotation, Zay took a deep breath and decisively added a few words to his sale title. Clown climbing. By the way, he set a reserve price of 2800 W for his transaction, but he still suffered a loss due to his lack of experience. Rubbing his temples with a headache, Zay walked to the trading computer desk and began to browse the information. The Alliance system has automatically used the reserve price he just set as the condition for filtering information. ZHE also refreshed the background. There are 12 pieces of information, which are normal quotes. 30 million cash, 35 million cash, 32 million plus 3 million worth of chocolate fruit, 33 million plus 2 million worth of candlewood fruit. ZHE also eliminated the lower quotes one by one, leaving only the 3 highest quotes. They are 45 million cash, 42 million cash plus 3 million worth of chocolate fruit, and 43 million plus 2 million worth of candlewood fruit. Among them, chocolate fruit is a tree fruit used to cultivate fire-type Pokémon, which can increase the intensity of fire energy in the body of fire-type Pokémon. The same is true for candlewood fruit, but it is only for electric Pokémon. There are also water-type Kyangxiang fruit, grass-type Luozi fruit, etc., which are more or less common exchange resources for elite trainers, collectively known as energy fruits. The output is not small, but it is also far from enough compared to the demand. As for the high level fruit, there are air fruits such as sand scale fruit or dragon fire fruit that can improve the ability of elves, but these fruits are often only naturally bred in the wild. At least ZHE has never heard of anyone who can artificially cultivate these rare fruit. Now the 3 offers are all the same value of 45 million, the key is which one to choose. ZHE frowned, thought for a while, and still chose 45 million cash. After all, he is not sure what kind of elf he will have now, and he still needs to go to the black market to select individuals with excellent qualifications. If he changes the cultivation materials in advance now, he will need to exchange them again in case the attributes are not suitable. It is better to directly choose the Alliance currency, anyway, he can buy it later. Moreover, you don't need too many energy fruits at the beginning of cultivation, and it is also a troublesome thing to store them. At that time, you can directly buy a small amount from the Alliance Mall, although the unit price is a bit expensive. If you want a large amount, come to the trading center to buy it. ZHE also confirmed the transaction and handed the Firestone to the staff of the Alliance. After some operations, 44.55 million, after deducting the guarantee fee, quickly entered his account 3 hours later. Originally, it was not so fast, because the other party still needed to confirm the receipt. But fortunately, the buyer was in the next door cerulean city, and the other party spent an extra 10,000 Alliance coins to order a fast service. As a result, the buyer confirmed the receipt of the Firestone 2 hours later, and naturally the money was in Zaya's hands. Zaya walked out of the trading center and looked at the balance information displayed on the elf watch, and the corners of his mouth could not be suppressed. The joy was so full that it was overflowing. This was much more exciting than the 220 W yesterday. It was the first time that Zaya had a deposit of more than 8 digits in his to lives, and the first one was not 1. Unfortunately, more than half of it was about to be spent. Zaya walked slowly to the black market. Find a place to change into a regular black robe. Zaya began to look for his target. The black market is mainly divided into 2 areas, the stall area and the black market store, which is very easy to understand. The former is mainly for idle trainers to sell things, just like Zaya sold Butterfree, and they just need to pay the black market stall fee to set up a stall. The latter is an organized group that entrusts the black market to sell in large quantities, so it is actually a very large Pokémon egg sales point, but it is divided into different areas and sales personnel according to the attributes. The suppliers of the latter are either big families or poacher teams, or organizations like Team Rocket that sell their own spoils in large quantities in exchange for money or resources. You ask why the Alliance doesn't clean it up. To be honest, ZHE has suspected more than once that the people in power behind the black markets in various regions may be the big bosses, and the Alliance can't clean it up. So instead of cleaning it up in a messy way, it is better to let the black market develop normally, and have a little order, and as mentioned before, give the lower level civilians an illusory opportunity. ZHE first walked around the stall area. There were only 4 or 5 stalls selling Fire Chick or Electric Monster and Pokémon eggs of both. The 2 Pokémons added up to no more than 2 hands, only 8, and the potential was not high. Although it is difficult to find, ZHE has no intention of using Pokémon with potential below the king as his main members. As a time traveler with a golden finger, Tetsuya's pursuit is not just to become an elite trainer. Tetsuya set a goal for himself that, if it is an electric monster, it must have the potential of a king, and if it is a flaming monster, it is best to be a semi-champion level. After all, as the 3 starter Pokémons, flaming Pokémons are still very popular. Don't think that the 3 starter Pokémons are just a name. This is the Pokémon that the Alliance has analyzed for many years, and concluded that it is the most suitable Pokémon for novice trainers. Many trainers have also proved this. Where there is demand, there is output. Moreover, the Pokémons of electric monsters, which have only one evolved form, the electric beast, are not very popular. So in comparison, the number of flaming Pokémon eggs in the black market is much more than that of electric monsters. A large number means a greater probability of picking up leaks, and naturally Tetsuya's requirements will be higher. In the stall area, flaming Pokémons account for 6 of the 8 numbers, and the remaining 2 are electric monsters, and they have the potential of ordinary and elite levels respectively. Tetsuya was not disappointed. After all, there are too few cases of high quality Pokémons appearing in the stall area. The stall owners here all obtained elves or elf eggs by chance during their adventures and sold them. There was no guarantee of potential at all. However, the black market shop was different. ZHE also walked to the right of the stall area. There was a gate there, and there were special personnel there to verify the assets of people going to the black market shop. The basic requirement was to show a savings card with a deposit of more than 500 W Alliance coins, otherwise they were not allowed to enter. While screening people, preventing too many people from entering, some people caused damage to the elf eggs, and had no money to compensate. Although the black market will let him know what reasonable compensation is in the end, it is a bit troublesome. So just verify the funds first. Speaking of which, this is also ZHE's first time to go to the black market store, and I don't know what it is like inside. ZHE also walked to the front of the gate and took out the anonymous savings card he prepared in advance and handed it to the black market staff. There was 1000 W in it, which was more than enough to deal with the capital verification. The functions of some portable tree fruits have been changed. In fact, it is mainly to borrow a name, daily collection and recommendation. Add more for the first reward of Patrick's shorts. Thanks to Patrick's 5-point pants for the reward of 300 starting coins. Chapter 13 Takeoff. The black market staff took the savings card, inserted it into the instrument, and returned the savings card to Zaya after verification. Zaya took it and stepped into the door of the black market store. What came into view was a hall covered with white bricks, and behind it were doors with different attribute symbols. Seeing Zaya walk in, a female waiter waiting on the side came forward to ask, "Hello, how can I help you?" Zaya glanced at the waitress with a hot body and revealing clothes. The heart of the virgin for more than 30 years suddenly fluctuated, but was quickly suppressed. After all, women can only affect the speed of his throwing Pokeballs. Zaya's voice came from under the black robe. "Where are the eggs of the electric monster or the fire chicken? Take me to see it." The waiter bent down slightly to reveal the upper part of the white round sphere and guided Zaya forward. As for the fire chicken eggs, the previous customer is also choosing them. Why don't you go to the storage room of the electric monster eggs to choose the Pokémon eggs you like? Zaya nodded slightly and signaled the waiter to lead the way. The waiter took Zay into the door with the lightning logo, which was divided into small rooms. There were signs outside the rooms with the names of different types of Pokémon eggs. Soon, they walked to the room where the electric eggs were located, and the waiter used his work card to open the door of the room. There were 3 shelves of electric eggs inside, but the distribution of electric eggs became sparser as they went deeper into the shelves. The 3 shelves correspond to 3 types of Pokémon eggs of different prices. The waiter said skillfully. Seeing that ZHE did not stop himself, he continued to explain. Take the electric monster as an example. There are 3 types of them, priced at 1200W, 1500W, and 1800W. The pricing is based on the fact that our black market qualification appraisers will judge the qualifications that the Pokémon hatched from the Pokémon eggs may have. The higher the qualification, the higher the price. The judgment criteria are mainly the strength of the Pokémon's parents and the overall condition of the Pokémon eggs. Of course, there are also cases where customers bought a Pokémon with the highest price, but the Pokémon hatched only reached the elite level. Similarly, there are also cases where customers bought the Pokémon eggs with the lowest qualification, but the Pokémon hatched reached the king level. I hope you can choose the Pokémon eggs you like, and please be careful not to damage the Pokémon eggs. After saying that, the waiter stood aside and let Zaya start observing by himself. After all, the trainer's selection of Pokémon eggs is very strange. Some trainers will choose the Pokémon eggs if they like the pattern of the Pokémon eggs, and some trainers will look through all the eggs to find the one that they feel connected to. Anyway, there are all kinds of weird people. The waiters had been trained long ago. After introducing the basic situation, they just had to be mute and watch the customers choose their Pokémon eggs, unless the customers made any destructive moves or asked for explanations. Otherwise, they would be complained and have their money deducted. ZHE also ignored the waiter standing aside and secretly called out Zero to start looking from the first shelf. Elite, 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 all elite at a glance. ZHE couldn't help but sigh. You get what you pay for. The stall area uniformly priced the eggs of the electric monster at 1000W, and the eggs of the fire chicken at 2000W, which were a bit lower. But the stall area outside not only had a small number of eggs, but also the potential could not be so uniform. Most of them were still relatively poor. He quickly scanned the first shelf, and there was no surprise except for a few Quasi-Kings who seemed out of place. ZHE also walked to the second shelf and started looking. From the display of Zero, the Pokémon eggs on it were indeed much better than the first shelf. At least the proportion of eggs with Quasi-King potential increased from 20% to 50%, although there were only a dozen eggs in total. Unfortunately, there was still no egg with the potential of the king level that Zay wanted. When he came to the third row of shelves, there were only 5 eggs on display. Zay was secretly happy. He was lucky. Among the 5 Pokémon eggs, 1 was an elite, 3 were Quasi-Kings, and the remaining 1 just had the potential of the king level. He gloated for the unlucky trainer who might spend the most money in the future and only get the elite level. Zay waved to the waiter and pointed at the Pokémon egg with the potential of the king and told the waiter, "Record this first, and then take me to the fire chick eggs to have a look." The waiter took out the instrument, made a mark, and after confirming that no one was in the fire chick egg room through the intercom, he took Zay out. The prices of fire chick eggs are 2200W, 2500W and 3000W respectively. Soon they arrived at the room of fire chick eggs in another gate. The waiter briefly explained and then stepped aside and disappeared. The price of fire chick eggs fluctuated more because compared with the electric monsters, the high quality fire chicks were more attractive to most trainers, and the market demand was there. Zaya quickly scanned the first and second shelves in the same way as before, and there were no surprises. Although the qualification appraisers in this world are not as accurate as Zero, they can still make a rough judgment based on various situations. Zaya soon arrived at the third shelf. There were 12 fire chick eggs on the third shelf here, more than twice as many as the electric monsters. Zaya secretly prayed to the goddess of luck. Oh no, this should be Jerich's favor. Although the basic task of the king level electric monster was completed, it would be great if there was a better fire chick, wouldn't it? Zaya scanned them one by one. Quasi-King, 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 King, Quasi-King, Quasi King until the 10th one. There were no surprises, just that there were 2 kings in it, which was the same as the electric monster in terms of probability, and there was no elite potential. Zaya was very relaxed. After all, the probability was too small, but any Pokémon eggs that could be semi-champion or champion qualifications would not be sold, but would choose to gamble. At least if I lose the bet, I will still be a superstar. No loss at all, even a huge profit. The black market is not so amateurish. Just thinking about this, when he saw the 11th egg, Zay's eyes shrank wildly under his black robe, and his fists clenched directly. He glanced at the last egg, a quasi-superstar, rubbish, and pointed at the 11th egg, and said to the waiter, "This is it, check out." The waiter felt that Zay's voice seemed to have changed from before, but he couldn't tell. Hearing Zay's request, he picked up the intercom at his waist and said something. Soon, another male waiter came with an instrument specifically for loading elf eggs. Zay watched the other party put the elf eggs into the instrument step by step, and very straightforwardly handed 2 anonymous savings cards with 10 million and 20 million respectively to the waitress. After the waiter confirmed it briefly, the smile on his face became more sincere, and asked the male waiter to help put the elf eggs into Zay's space backpack. The transaction was completed. The female waiter sent Zay all the way out of the store, and then happily returned to her team, completing a single order of 50,000 alliance coins. Our protagonist, Zaya, walked out of the black market at a slow, but actually fast pace, found a place to take off his black robe and threw it into his backpack. After making sure that no one was following him, he ran all the way home. Zaya slapped himself as soon as he entered the house, and closed the door. Hiss. Zaya covered his face. It hurt. It was real. He carefully took out the egg of the fire chicken he had just bought, opened the 0, and confirmed it again. Really, this fire chicken egg actually has the potential to be a champion. Not even a semi-champion. It jumped directly from the king to the champion. Zaya turned 360 degrees on the spot, and took off with the Armstrong cannon. Like a husky, he went crazy in the living room for half an hour, and Zaya, who kept muttering in his mouth, finally calmed down. Although I don't know what the appraiser did, she must be a good person. I hope she lives 100 years, Zaya prayed. Let's put it this way, the probability of Tetsuya encountering this situation is about the same as if a lawyer suddenly came to your door one day and said that you have a 1 billion inheritance to inherit, and it is all in cash after paying taxes. The degree of shock is about the same as directly using a truck to pull this cash inheritance to you. P.S. Although it may not be loaded in a truck, Tetsuya's hands were shaking. What? Zero could still make a mistake. Crawl as far as you can. If anyone dares to say this to Tetsuya at this time, Tetsuya will definitely spit back angrily. Tetsuya took a deep breath and exhaled again. After calming down his mood, that had been unable to calm down for a long time, Tetsuya released Pidgeot and twisted it. Pidgeot was released and thought it was time to eat, but it was directly hugged by its owner and began to destroy its feathers. Pidgeot was very desperate. Could it be that his trainer was a lunatic? It has been almost 2 years and he didn't realize it. Half an hour later, Tetsuya used a special comb to comb Pidgeot's feathers, and he was laughing. Pidgeot was lying on the ground, enjoying the service of the trainer, but the occasional laughter behind him made it feel a little creepy. Tetsuya combed Pidgeot's feathers, prepared lunch for Pidgeot, and let Pidgeot go to play. Tetsuya has only recovered a little bit now. After all, this is really a surprise. What does champion potential mean? It means that, as long as the resources are in place, Tetsuya may have a champion level Blaziken. With this, he can even easily become a champion, or even challenge the champion. Although this resource is at least in the 10 digits, at least there is hope, isn't it? And it is not small. Tetsuya feels that he is simply the son of heaven. First, he met a Bobo egg with king potential, and now he has a flame chicken egg with champion potential. It can be said that he is the illegitimate child of the goddess of luck. Tetsuya swears that he will give Jirachi some delicious food when he meets him in the future. He took out his computer and didn't care about his lunch. Since Flame Chicken has the potential of champion level, the previous training plan is somewhat unsuitable. Tetsuya began to frantically modify the juvenile training plan of Flame Chicken, based on his own knowledge and Zero's summary. 2 hours later, at 2 p.m., his hungry stomach started to growl, and Tetsuya finally put down his computer and finished the revision. Tetsuya sent the revised plan to his watch, walked into the kitchen, and prepared his lunch and afternoon tea, while checking for any problems. He chose the fire chick instead of the electric monster. The reason was explained in detail. The most important thing was that the world will give the protagonist a small cheat. To put it simply, not many people know about the electric monster, at least for civilians. Even for high level people, it is not very cost effective to use props to evolve it, and it cannot be mega. So no one will specifically cultivate the eggs of the electric monster for sale, but the fire chick is different. The average qualifications may be similar, but the base number is too different. So it is more reasonable for the fire chick to pick up the leak. Originally, I planned to insert a plot of going to the Hone region to obtain the fire chick, but later I thought it was completely unnecessary and changed it. After all, does the protagonist's halo need to be reasonable? No. And the champion qualifications are not so simple, and they will gradually be reflected later. Also, thanks to Mengru Kanji for his 100 Kidian coins. Thanks to Yulong for his 100 Kidian coins. Thanks to ZZZZZZZZZZZZ for his 100 Kidian coins. PS. The basis for adding more chapters will probably be the number of recommended votes accumulated each week, the number of monthly votes accumulated each month, the total amount of rewards, etc. And it will be added every time a certain number is reached. Anyway, it is very transparent, don't worry, the reason for adding more chapters will be clearly stated in the author's words. PS. I feel that, if I change the top paragraph, I can add 200 more words in the text. Please invest, collect, and recommend. Chapter 14. Spending money like water, and thinking about the future. Tetsuya kept scrolling through the schedule, and after confirming that there was no problem, he began to enjoy his lunch. Then he would go shopping in the afternoon, and Tetsuya made a simple decision. After finishing lunch quickly, Tetsuya put the fire chick's eggs into his backpack. After putting away Pidgeot, who was basking in the sun in the backyard, he headed directly to the Alliance Mall. At dusk, Viridian City and Viridian Forest were gradually coated with a layer of golden color by the afterglow of the setting sun. After shopping in the Alliance Mall and the trading center for the whole afternoon, Tetsuya returned home with a full harvest and a tired body. Of course, there was also a wallet that was reduced a lot at once. Although Tetsuya was prepared to spend money, he still felt very distressed when he really bought so many things at once and swiped his credit card crazily. Tetsuya collapsed on the sofa at home, which felt more tiring than taking risks. After struggling to solve the dinner for Pidgeot and himself, Tetsuya began to count the items he bought this time. First, he bought 6 luxury balls produced by Silph Company, which was considered to be a good environment for Pidgeot and Fire Chicks, and also prepared the share of the main force in the future. In addition to the simple features of fireproof, dropproof, waterproof and electric proof, the paint never falls off. Compared with ordinary Pokeballs, the luxury ball produced by Silph Company is basically the difference between a mansion and a wooden house in terms of internal space, and has the function of automatically simulating a living environment suitable for Pokémons. Moreover, the luxury ball produced by Silph Company can also be bound to the trainer's own Pokémon watch to monitor the physical condition of the Pokémon inside in real time. As for the problem of data leakage, ZHE said that it can't be avoided anyway, and this kind of detection is also relatively low level and very easy to fluctuate, so there is no need to worry. Besides, Silph Company has never concealed this point, and the trainers are also aware of it, but the products produced by Silph Company are all fine products, which are really good. In comparison, leaking some data is nothing at all, and Silph Company also uses its reputation to promise that it will not be leaked, so people still believe it. ZHE also bought other things produced by Silph Company and simply updated his equipment. For example, the matching Pokémon watch, space backpack, and tent, etc. The effect is much higher than before. For example, the space backpack has been increased from 10 cubic meters to 50 cubic meters. There are also simple linkage functions between the various equipment, such as the watch can control the settings in the tent. Just these, ZHE spent 1.5 million yuan at the Silif company, thanks to the previous equipment that was also from the Silif company, and he could save some alliance coins by exchanging old equipment for new ones. Secondly, ZHE also went to the store of Devon Manufacturing Company and spent 500,000 yuan to buy the latest navigator and drone, and spent 1 million yuan to buy 2 sets of the most complete outdoor exploration suits with a series of black technology functions such as constant temperature, environmental detection, positioning, and deformation. He also bought a complete set of training equipment for Firechick, which cost another 1.5 million yuan, and exchanged old equipment for Pidgeot for a new one, which cost 300,000 yuan. The above added up to Zay's 4.8 million alliance coins, and this is only part of the equipment. The next things are the real big deal. ZHE first bought the nutritional potion that the Firechick needs. It comes from Golden City and its function is to improve the physical fitness and other attributes of the young Pokémon to a limited extent. Basically, if you continue to feed the nutritional potion until it leaves the larval stage, your Pokémon will be a little stronger in all aspects than the Pokémon that does not take the nutritional potion. A set of nutritional potions contains 7 types of nutritional potions: physical fitness, energy, special attack, special defense, physical attack, physical defense, and speed. Each bottle is 10 milliliters, and 3 sets are needed a day. The larval stage of the Pokémon will last about 20 days, which means that 60 sets are needed. As for the price, ZHE can only say that it is awesome. A set of nutritional potions costs 50,000 yuan, and 60 sets are 3 million yuan. No discounts or bargaining. Pokémon in the larval stage also need to supplement various vitamins. The store clerk said that they are ready for you. After scientific research, the combination of multivitamin tablets, 2 pills a day, 40 pills directly taken until the larval stage, is not expensive, only 200,000 yuan. ZHE paid with tears. Not only that, ZHE also has the breeding plan given by Zero. The total cost of medicinal materials was 600,000 yuan. The total cost of various types of fruit was 1.4 million yuan, and the purchase of Pokémon materials from the trading center was 1 million yuan. Well, another 6.2 million yuan was spent on Firechick. Fortunately, these were not just materials for the larval stage. ZHE also estimated that adding 1.8 million resources would be enough for Firechick to quickly break through to the elite level. Otherwise, it would cost so much for just the larval stage, and ZHE would collapse directly. There was also Pokémon food for the 2 Pokémons, which was not bad, only 600,000 yuan. After all, now that he was rich, ZHE also didn't want Pidgeot and Firechick to eat poorly, so he replaced the original solid granular Pokémon food with energy cubes and bought more than a month's supply. It was expensive, but the nutrition was better. If ZHE didn't know how to make energy cubes, it would be good to synthesize it himself with fruit. Then there was Pidgeot's cultivation. ZHE also estimated that he would not accept any more tasks before Firechick reached the elite level. Pidgeot still focused on training, so he spent another 1.7 million yuan to buy cultivation materials for Pidgeot. After they calculated all the things, he spent 1300 plus W on this shopping trip. Zay looked at the balance on his card and smiled bitterly. This morning, he had 4900 plus W, close to 5000 W. At night, just over 12 hours later, it was only about 600 W. The assets shrunk by 90%. But these are all necessary investments. Although it doesn't mean that you can't become stronger without these Firechicks, the progress will definitely be much slower. Pidgeot is the most obvious example. If they could give Pidgeot this kind of training when he was still Pidgeot, it is estimated that it would take only half a year for Pidgeot to reach his current strength. But Zay also clearly knows that his current progress is already very dreamy compared to other civilian trainers. After all, he is a time traveler with a golden finger, and he is lucky enough to encounter 2 high quality Pokémon eggs and a high quality Firestone. In addition, he can remember everything he sees and learn very quickly. If this is not considered outstanding, then he can only look for those monsters in this world. Tetsuya originally only planned to become a king when he was about 30 years old, and then rely on accumulation and the help of Zero to become stronger little by little, and become a champion in his 40s, and be considered a success as a senior member of the Alliance. The class solidification in this world is too serious. Even if Tetsuya thinks he is treated as a protagonist, he still feels that it is difficult to get a high position all at once. After all, he is still an orphan without the support of a family faction. But looking at the current situation, Tetsuya feels that his goal may be achieved several years earlier. There are advantages and disadvantages. According to Tetsuya's original estimate, although his progress is excellent, it is not at the level of a demon. After all, there are too many geniuses in this world, such as Professor Oak, such as the Dragon Master, such as the Sinnoh Champion Sharona, and the current chairman of the Alliance, Mr. Damaranchi. Even Shiba had the strength of a quasi-champion when he was less than 30 years old. Tetsuya's performance will only make him attract attention. As long as he finds a backer, it will be no problem to climb up step by step in the Alliance system. However, once a person shows a talent that is too extraordinary, even if there is a little bit of luck that others think is involved, it will be difficult for Zhe to find a backer at will, and he needs to choose carefully. After all, most families still hope that such a gifted monster will join their side. If not, they can only kill him in the cradle. This makes Zhe have to find a strong enough backer and protect his shortcomings so that he can be a little safer. This is also what Zhe has always been afraid of, so he did not make a lot of use of the potential detection function of Zero to make money. Zhe can also easily pick up high quality elf eggs. It is much easier to detect the talent of hatched young elves than elf eggs, and the price difference between the two is at least double. That is, for example, an elf egg whose potential can only be determined to be between elite and quasi-king may only sell for 12 million. After hatching, if it is detected as elite, it may drop to 10 million. Once it is a quasi-king, it will immediately become 20 million. This is why Tetsuya chose to buy Pokémon eggs. Apart from the issue of intimacy, the price is also a reason. After all, with Zero, he doesn't need to spend a lot of money to buy young high quality Pokémon. And it is unlikely to pick up a big leak like the champion potential of the Fire Chick. In this way, Tetsuya could have quickly accumulated initial funds. If he did this, Tetsuya estimated that he would have 6 main Pokémon now, and they were at least elite level. However, Tetsuya has never used this method in the past 16 years. It's not that he is afraid of the league finding out. After all, once or twice is not a problem. But Tetsuya grew up in Viridian City. This is very fatal. Although Tetsuya didn't know much in his previous life, he knew that the boss of Viridian Gym, Sakaki of the Earth, was the head of Team Rocket, the largest organization in Kanto. Moreover, there is only one black market in each region, and the black market in Kanto happens to be built near Viridian City. If you say there is no trick in this, Tetsuya will never believe it, and he will even chop off your head and give it to you. What if Team Rocket thinks that there is something wrong with Tetsuya and directly kidnaps him for dissection and research? It would be more terrible than death. Tetsuya doesn't dare to gamble with his life anyway, and has been steadily controlling his progress over the years. But with the champion level Fire Chick in front of him, if he doesn't choose to take a chance, he will be worse than a salted fish. And as long as the speed of Fire Chick's progress is not revealed all at once, others will not find too much of the problem with his qualifications. After all, Tetsuya is a genius on the surface, and it is relatively easy to cultivate an outstanding Fire Chick to progress faster. In addition, it is not too much to encounter various adventures during the adventure. When Tetsuya secretly develops and has enough strength to protect himself, at least he can escape. Then he can feel free to improve himself boldly. Before that, Tetsuya thinks it is better to be cautious. Those protagonists who are reckless, the grass on the grave, is almost able to play with swords. Fill in the settings. If you still think there are bugs, you can raise them under the pinned post I posted in the discussion area. I will see what the details are. Then I suddenly felt that it was awkward to have 3000 words per chapter on weekends. It would be very inconvenient for me to add more chapters. This is the case this time. So if there are no accidents, it will be more than 2000 words per chapter. 2 chapters per day on weekdays, and 3 chapters per day on weekends. Then the 3000 words for Saturday and Sunday will be put on Friday and Saturday. So starting from tomorrow, it will be 2 chapters per day, and tomorrow will be considered a working day. Doge. Please invest, collect, and recommend. Thank you for the 100 starting coins reward from Wang Yuanxi. Thank you for the 100 starting coins reward from Yulang. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15, The Birth of the Fire Chicken and the Panel of the High Quality Elf. Zay took the incubator and the fire chick eggs inside and went upstairs to his room. He carefully fixed it on the table, and then he lay on the bed and turned on the projection mode of his newly bought watch and began to pay to watch the papers published by the Alliance researchers. The night gradually deepened, and the surroundings fell into silence. Zay gradually fell into a deep sleep. Only the incubator on the table and the fire chick eggs inside flashed a faint red light from time to time. 2 days later at noon, the sun was shining brightly. Zay had just finished the morning training with Pidgeot and returned home to have lunch. The eggs in the incubator next to him suddenly began to emit white light. Zay was happy. This was the rhythm of hatching soon, and Bobo was like this back then. Calculating the time, the fire chick elf egg has been in the incubator for more than 50 hours, which is in line with the hatching time of the same kind, and it is not premature. In Zay's mind, it seemed that a long time had passed before the white light gradually dissipated. Chamo. A childish voice sounded, and an elf with a body mainly orange and 2 small wings appeared in front of Zay. The fire chick stared at the handsome giant in front of him with wide eyes. Most of the young Pokémon will regard the first creature they see when they are born as their own relatives, and the fire chick is no exception. Hello, little guy. Zaya smiled and responded to the fire chick's greeting. Chap. The fire chick's eyes narrowed into a slit and shouted happily. Zaya gently stretched out his hands and held the newly born fire chick in his palms, combing its feathers that were a little messy after breaking out of the shell. The fire chick lay lazily, its whole body covered with fluffy feathers, and it was very warm in the palm of his hand. The body of the newborn Pokémon is still relatively fragile, and the fire chick soon fell asleep slowly under Zaya's careful care. Zaya carefully put the sleeping fire chick in the small bed that had been prepared long ago and was specially made for young Pokémon. He silently said in his heart, 0. Open the panel of the fire chick after analysis. Soon, a blue panel that only Zaya could see appeared in his field of vision. Fire chick. Category. Chick Pokémon attribute. Fire height. 0.18 meters. Average value is 0.4 meters. Weight. 1 kilogram. Average value is 2.5 kilograms. Characteristics. Fierce fire. In a crisis with very little physical strength, the power of fire attribute moves will increase. Hidden characteristic. Speed up. The speed of the Pokémon with this characteristic will continue to increase as time goes by in combat until it reaches the limit. Skills. Scratch, peck, call, double return, inherited, burnout, inherited, high speed movement, inherited, level 1, lava stage, unable to fight, potential, champion breeding method. The larval stage is mainly based on development. The materials are as follows: nutritional potions, Miri goat milk, vitamin tablets. After passing the larval stage, it is recommended to give priority to training the leg muscles of this Pokémon. The degree of development after birth is 1.44 times that of the same kind of Pokémon. The possibility of further growth after training is not ruled out. The diet after weight training is as follows: Jigglypuff's egg. Secondly, it is recommended to mix spicy cherry and chocolate to enhance the fire energy intensity in the elf, and then gradually increase the proportion of chocolate. Note, it is detected that the fire energy intensity in the elf is 0.5 times higher than that of the same kind, and it has a very high fire talent. The mixing ratio of spicy cherry and chocolate is revised from the original 5:1 to 3:1. At the same time, according to the performance of the elf, In the absence of specific data, its reaction is at least twice that of the same kind of elves, and it has a very high fighting talent. Further plans require detailed reports. In addition, the acceleration characteristics need to be further developed. For details, please refer to Dr. Adamaki's doctoral thesis research on the hidden characteristics of Fire Chick's acceleration characteristics. Zaya looked at the analysis given by Zero and took a breath. Let's not talk about the talents behind. What the hell are these 3 inherited skills? Double return, burnout, high speed movement, either extremely powerful moves or moves with extremely high tactical value. And they are fighting, fire and psychic skills respectively. What on earth is its father or mother? Such a mess of inherited skills can appear. You know, normal Blaziken doesn't have double return and high speed movement. This is simply a bit of a subversion of the knowledge framework that Zay has learned in this world for so many years. And the 3 inherited skills well explain why this Blaziken has good fighting talent and fire talent. The inheritance of a fire ultimate skill basically determines that the internal fire energy and quality of this Pokémon are very high, or in other words, it is impossible for a slightly worse talent to inherit the move of burning out. Double return and high speed movement can further improve its physical fitness and reaction talent. It can be said that inherited skills and talent complement each other. Poor talent cannot inherit any good skills, and good inherited skills will also drive the change of this Pokémon's talent. Zay felt stable the moment he saw this panel. If you tell him that this talent does not have a champion, he will not believe it. The king level talent Pidgeot only inherited a tornado, which is not a powerful ultimate move. But if you look at the inherited moves of this Fire Chick, it is clear that the entire panel is covered with several bright words. I'm the 2nd generation of strength. Not to mention the data given by Zero fully shows that Fire Chick has extraordinary talents compared to its peers. You should know that these multiples of a few tenths can be converted into percentages of at least 30 or 40, and at most 80 or 90, which is very outrageous. In higher level battles, if you are slightly stronger than the enemy by 10%, you can basically suppress the opponent, not to mention Fire Chick's all-round leading talent suppression. Let's put it this way, ZHE also estimates that at the same level, before reaching the championship, as long as the opponent's elves are not some kind of divine beast with extraordinary talent, Fire Chick can beat 3 alone. If the attribute is restrained, then there are 2. Be modest. At least ZHE doesn't think there are so many elves in the world who have both championship qualifications and inherited these powerful skills. Even if there are, the worst is 50-50, right? And ZHE is also confident that his command is definitely one of the best among his peers and will not drag Fire Chick down. After all, he is also talented. ZHE also began to fantasize about the future again. This evolved into a flame chicken. Whoever comes will die in the battle. But ZHE soon regained his composure because he suddenly realized a problem. The mixing ratio of spicy cherry fruit and chocolate fruit has been revised from the original 5:1 to 3:1. Zero's simple sentence contained a desperate message. ZHE's brain was working rapidly. The proportion of chocolate fruit increased from 16% to 25%, which means that the cultivation cost increased by 60%. Minus the cost of spicy cherry fruit, the overall cost increased by about 50%. If the cultivation of fighting is calculated at the same ratio as other places, the original plan of 8 million to cultivate to the elite level will increase by nearly 4 million! ZHE quickly calculated that he still had about 5.8 million, including the 1.8 million that had not been spent. I have to add that the evening will probably be a little later than before, around 9 to 10 o'clock. The time is uncertain because one more chapter requires more time to write. On weekends, I will finish earlier, maybe around 8 or 9 in the evening, depending on my typing speed. Did I say that I'm a little bold from reviewing? Please invest, collect, and recommend. Thank you book friend 20200527090625575 for the 100 starting coins reward. Chapter 16 Bankruptcy, and 20 days later. ZHE looked ahead with lifeless eyes, not believing the result he had calculated. He used a calculator to recalculate it in disbelief. After all, even a genius brain can make mistakes. But the numbers on the computer accurately told ZHE that he had calculated correctly. If he did not accept the task, he might end up bankrupt after training the fire chick to the elite level. Because he did not know how many resources were needed to cultivate a Pokémon with champion qualifications, ZHE also made the revised plan, based on his and Zero's calculations. Calculating the progress of cultivating to elite in 7 to 8 months, ZHE first used the resource data required for elite level fire Pokémon to make a simple data table, listing the cultivation materials needed, and calculating the price. He also collected some data on Pokémon with Quasi-King and King qualifications, and listed them in the same way. After calculating the approximate range, ZHE added a coefficient of 2 in front, which he thought was very overestimated. You know, even Pidgeot has only spent about 2.3 million so far. Although ZHE also knew that, if he invested a lot at the beginning, the speed of reaching the same strength would be much shorter. But according to the data, if he spent another 1 million or 2 million, he could train it to the elite level in about 8 months. Now ZHE also thought that the cost of training the fire chick should be doubled, and 8 million should be about the same. Who could have expected that after the fire chick was born? He had greatly underestimated the cost of training it would take for its qualifications. Normally, the ratio of the mixture of cherries and chocolates for young fire-type Pokémon should be 10 to 1. Considering the high qualifications of the fire chick, ZHE also gritted his teeth and doubled the amount of chocolate, which is the amount used in the training of elite level Pokémons. As a result, the fire chick, which had just been born, was tested by Zero, and showed that the ratio of 5 to 1 was not enough, and 3 to 1 was required. If it continues like this, the fire chick may need a 1 to 1 ratio of chocolates to improve the quality and quantity of its energy before it reaches the elite stage. Not to mention that some other high level materials need to be increased. ZHE also felt a toothache just thinking about it. Originally, he thought he could save less than 3 million in savings for emergencies, but it seems that it is not possible. As for going out to do missions before Chickadee reaches the elite level, Zaya thinks it is better to be cautious. If something happens, there will be no place to cry. Zaya looked at the sleeping Chickadee and smiled helplessly. You have to take good care of your own Pokémon, no matter how much you cry. Moreover, the investment will definitely bring rewards. At this time, Chickadee, who had just slept for a while, woke up. Staggering towards his trainer, Chickadee kept calling out to his owner, Chamo Chamo, Chamo. Oh, by the way, everyone in this world has a very strange ability, which is to roughly understand what the Pokémon is saying. Although Zaya is also a time traveler, he still has this ability. Zaya picked up Chickadee. You are hungry, right? I have prepared it for you a long time ago. Zaya took Chickadee to the dining table and took out the exclusive rice bowl that had been prepared long ago. There was a huge flame chicken logo underneath. Pour 200 milliliters of Melee goat milk into it and pour a portion of nutritional potion into it with a multivitamin tablet and a few spicy energy cubes on the side. This is the lunch menu of the juvenile turkey. The dinner is the same, but the breakfast is less multivitamin tablets and energy cubes. The turkey sniffs here and there, licks there, and starts eating happily after tasting the taste. ZHE also watched the turkey eat quickly. This is all money, little guy. In less than 10 minutes, the turkey finished this meal. ZHE also looked at the little thing that didn't change and wondered where the food it had just eaten went. You know, the turkey is not that big now, and what it just ate is almost as big as its entire elf. Chamo. The turkey jumped off the dining table after eating and drinking and staggered towards its bed very skillfully, ready to rest. Wait a minute. ZHE also hurriedly called the turkey. This little guy is really cute. They smiled helplessly, holding an empty luxury bowl, and walked towards Fire Chicken. Crouching down, they looked at Fire Chicken and said seriously, little guy, do you want to be my elf? If you do, just press the button in the middle. Then he handed the luxury bowl to Fire Chicken. Fire Chicken tilted its head and pressed the button without thinking. A red light flashed, and Fire Chicken was put into the luxury bowl without a struggle. Less than half a minute later, another red light flashed. Chamo. 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 Fire Chicken ran out excitedly and shouted, "Oh, really? Are you satisfied with the environment inside?" they asked with a smile. Chamo. Fire Chicken nodded happily and ran towards the bed with his legs. Chamo. Fire Chicken pointed at the bed and shouted to Zay, "Okay, I'll put it in for you." Zay understood what Fire Chicken meant, picked up the watch, and started to operate it. Fire Chicken's bed was quickly put in. This is also the black technology of the Sylph group. ZHE also doesn't know the principle. Normally, these things cannot be put into the Pokeball, but a series of products produced by Sylph can be put into it. This can also be regarded as a major means for capitalists to make money. After seeing Zay put the bed in, the Fire Chicken was also excited and ran to Zay again. Zay smiled and put the Fire Chicken into the Pokeball. In addition to eating, the young elves spend most of their time sleeping to digest energy. The daily exercise time only accounts for a part, basically before and after meals. After putting away the Pokeball of Fire Chicken, Zay walked to the back garden and greeted Pidgeot. Although Fire Chicken does not need training for the time being, Pidgeot's training cannot be stopped. Zay and Pidgeot began boring training day after day. 20 days later, the morning mist was filled, and Zay took Fire Chicken to stand in the carefully arranged back garden. At this time, the back garden has changed. Several fruit trees were transplanted to the edge by Zay. In the middle are strange devices similar to tennis ball launchers, and next to them are small wooden stakes slightly taller than Fire Chick, with various props scattered among them. After these 20 days of crazy Krypton gold, Fire Chick has successfully passed the larval stage and can start training. At this time, Fire Chick is 0.6 meters tall and weighs 4.5 kilograms. Compared with the average height and weight of 0.4 meters and 2.5 kilograms of its peers, Tetsua's Fire Chick can even be called a strong man. At the same time, it has also comprehended the spark and the flash of lightning and the natural growth process. The lively Fire Chick usually relies on these skills to destroy the house like a husky. Of course, this does not mean that Fire Chick's combat power is up to standard. After all, looking at its fat body and ignorant eyes, you can know that any Pokémon who has fought can deal with it. Then Fire Chick, we will officially start training next. Tetsua cheered up and said to Fire Chick seriously, "Try to avoid using size 0 panel to increase the word count. PS, it is said to be 2000 words, but in fact there will be 2100/2200 words. Please invest, collect, and recommend." Chapter 17 Formal Training and the beginning of the Fire Chicken Nightmare. Chamo. The Fire Chick responded with full energy. It was eager to move its body. In these 20 days of life, the Fire Chick has been eager to become stronger, which is also what every Pokémon is passionate about. ZHE also told the Fire Chick about today's training in advance last night. At that time, the Fire Chick was also confidently flapping its wings, indicating that it was completely fine. ZHE just smiled at the Fire Chick, who was a little bit floating. In his plan, the first 20 days after birth may be the easiest 20 days in the life of the Fire Chick. After all, every day it only needs to eat and drink, plus make noise, sleep when tired, and only needs to be responsible for supplementing nutrition. However, starting from today, this little guy must complete the hard training every day like its predecessor Pidgeot, at a fixed time, and in a fixed quantity. After all, in this world, everyone cares about their Pokémon, but this does not mean that they will not suffer. Only hard training can make your own elves stronger. This is also the origin of the name of Pokémon Trainer. ZHE also felt strange. According to the animation in his previous life, Zyozzy did not train. How did his Pokémon become stronger? This is completely inconsistent with objective laws and facts. All strength is accumulated little by little. Even if you spend money, you need long-term training to transform the energy brought by resources into strength. Otherwise, it only looks strong, but it is actually strong on the outside. It can only be said that animation is always animation, not the real world. I hope this little guy can hold on long enough at the beginning. ZHE thought to himself. After all, it was the same when he first trained Popo. Although he wanted to become stronger, children always wanted to retreat. Popo also failed to persist many times during the training process. It was not until training became a habit that Popo stopped complaining. This is also related to the character of the Pokémon. ZHE only hopes that his fire chick will not live up to its championship qualifications, at least not the 1 in a million type that does not want to become stronger. Otherwise, ZHE can only admit that he is unlucky. However, after so many days of getting along, ZHE has been educating Firechick and is still full of confidence in Firechick. Then the first training today is running. They pointed to the distance. The round trip distance is about 10 kilometers, and you and I will run together. Trainers in Pokémon training together can effectively improve the intimacy and bond between the two, not to mention that Zaya himself needs to exercise. Hearing his trainer say this, Chickadee excitedly waved his wings and agreed naturally. For Chickadee, running is something he is naturally good at. He runs around at home every day, not to mention running with his trainer, which is even more interesting. Moreover, 10 kilometers is just a matter of sprinkling water. Chickadee is quite confident, although he doesn't know how to count at all. Chickadee can't wait to signal his trainer to start. Zaya took out a black object from the side. This is part of the training suit he bought for Chickadee at Devon Group, a weight-bearing suit. You have to run in this. Chickadee tilted his head and watched his trainer put on a set of strange clothes for him, and then pointed at the bright place on the chest of the clothes. Tetsuya was setting the weight of the suit and fine-tuning the different positions according to the data of number 0. Originally, this set of weighted suits had a set of data built into the Devon company, and normal trainers could just use it after buying it. But Tetsuya also had number 0, and the development of Chickadee was far beyond that of its peers, so the built-in data of Devon Company was not very accurate, so he needed to adjust it himself. After Tetsuya adjusted the data and confirmed the value, he signaled Chickadee to start. Chickadee moved his body and didn't feel anything wrong, just a little heavier, so he ran happily. Tetsuya asked Pidgeot, who was standing aside, to follow and watch Chickadee, and he was not in a hurry to swing behind him. Chickadee was so fast now, only because it was indeed developing well, and had enough physical strength, and it would suffer soon. Tetsuya ran slowly according to his own rhythm, and soon saw Chickadee's figure. At this time, Chickadee had begun to feel something was wrong. It began to pant, and the clothes on its body seemed to be getting heavier and heavier. Firechick had never thought that running could be so tiring. His legs were numb. ZHE also laughed at Firechick, who had already started to slow down. The black technology of the Devon weight-bearing suit is not that simple, so that you, a little guy, don't care about the weight. It looks no different from ordinary clothes, but it is actually a portable weight room, similar to a gravity field, which can exercise in all directions, including the inside of the body, and each place has different adjustments according to the focus. You should know that the weight data given by 0 is not given casually. It combines the physical condition and limit of Firechick, which can maximize the effect of exercise without causing physical damage. ZHE also looked at the data. Now it is more than 3 kilometers. It is estimated that with Firechick's physical strength, it can barely complete the goal. ZHE also followed Firechick and cheered it up. Keep going, Firechick. Pay attention to the coordination of breathing and footsteps. Firechick listened to the voice of its trainer and nodded with gritted teeth. Firechick slowed down his breathing, adjusted his own rhythm, and began to run with his trainer. On the way back to the back garden of his home, Zaya stopped and took a deep breath. For him, this was just a normal warm-up. The speed of Firechick was not fast for the time being. Cha-cha-mo. But Firechick was different. As soon as Zaya stopped, Firechick immediately sat down in a mess, panting heavily, and its feathers were a little messy due to its own sweat. The fire-type Pokemon's inherent drying physique was not working well, so you can imagine how tired Firechick was. Zaya helped Firechick take off the weight-bearing clothes and let Firechick sit on the ground to rest for a while. After all, the physique of Pokémon and humans is different. It does not need to buffer for a period of time after exercise like humans. After feeding some orange juice, Firechick recovered some of its physical strength after about half a minute. Zaya moved a chair, put Firechick on his thigh, and began to give Firechick a simple massage after exercise using the massage method given by 0. This is the way to restore and stimulate the growth of Pokémon given by Zero, based on various data and information. There is a corresponding massage technique after each stage of training. Firechick was still exhausted, but after being massaged by his trainer, his whole body became relaxed. His legs, which were aching just now, gradually recovered. With Tetsua's careful massage technique and appropriate strength, Firechick felt very comfortable. The little guy made a very refreshing cry, indicating that his trainer did a good job. Please invest, collect, and recommend. I want anything! Exclamation mark. Chapter 18 Fire Chicken, where is this? Hell. ZHE patted the little guy's head with a bad smile, but the massage continued. After massaging for about 20 minutes, ZHE stopped. Okay, little guy, you've almost rested enough, let's start the next training. Firechick reluctantly jumped down. After 20 days of getting along, it knew very well when its trainer was joking with it, and when it had to follow its instructions. Besides, Firechick was also happy to train to become stronger. Although it was hard, there was also a comfortable massage and delicious food. The next training you will do is there. ZHE pointed to the paved ground, which was the back garden that looked a little strange. The overall back garden now looks very similar to the wooden manali of Shaolin Temple in ZHE's previous life, but there are some differences. Most of the area is covered by a white net, and the middle part of the net is a series of wooden stakes with irregular intervals. While they are densely arranged into several rows of roads, there are often wooden stakes standing suddenly in the middle of the road. This is the obstacle arranged by ZHE in combination with Zero's plan. The distance between each wooden stake has been precisely measured. From the starting point to the end point, it will get closer and closer to the limits of Fire Chicken. There are 3 fixed routes, and the difficulty increases in turn. Not only that, Fire Chicken can also be required to move forward along the route specified by Tetsuya, resulting in constant changes in difficulty, forcing Fire Chicken's reaction to be further trained. Then more than 10 small instruments are arranged on both sides of the wooden pile array, which function similarly to tennis launchers, and can launch matching elastic balls from the launch port of the instrument. The firing rate of the instrument, the hardness of the elastic ball, and the speed of the elastic ball after being launched, can all be adjusted. The main function is to interfere with the speed of Fire Chicken passing through the wooden pile array. The direction is also accurately calculated by Zero, and matched on different routes, to give Fire Chicken the most perfect training. Looking from the top, the whole style may be a bit like the bag with formation diagram, messy but beautiful. Tetsuya looked at Fire Chicken with a smile. You know, Tetsuya spent 1.5 million yuan on this set of equipment. The clerk of Devon Company was dumbfounded when he saw Tetsuya buying so many launchers. For a normal trainer, using only one machine is already very exaggerated, and 2 or 3 machines are considered strong. Tetsuya directly prepared a full 12 machines, and matched them with weight-bearing clothes. After all, normal trainers don't have Zero, so giving him 12 machines is redundant, but Tetsuya is different. Tetsuya can maximize the use of these training equipment through Zero. Firechick looked at the strange venue, and didn't know how to train. Tetsuya took Firechick to the entrance of the wooden stake array, and pointed it out. Each wooden stake was marked with a sequence mark made of different colors. Tetsuya said, what you have to do today is to move along the road formed by the wooden stakes with this green mark. Do you see it? Firechick nodded to show that he understood. Keep sprinting forward with all your strength, and pay attention to my instructions. I will let you use high speed movement and lightning flash. Tetsuya had a mysterious smile on his face. Firechick curiously poked his little head around at the entrance. Although he listened to Tetsuya's words, he didn't take it to heart. Let's try it once, and you'll understand it after one try. Zay looked at the ignorant Fire Chicken, who seemed to be surrounded by demons behind him. Fire Chicken didn't feel the misfortune at all, and was eager to go. Zay had already adjusted the data of the transmitter, called up Zero as a timer and collected information, and issued a command to Fire Chicken. Run. Fire Chicken rushed out like a sword. It successfully avoided 2 wooden stakes in the middle of the road. Before Fire Chicken had time to be happy, it ushered in the first corner. Just after controlling the high-speed moving body to turn, Fire Chicken saw a wooden stake constantly enlarging in front of its eyes. Duang. The young body was bounced by the reaction force and sat directly on the ground. Get up and keep sprinting. Zay's indifferent voice sounded. Fire Chicken also did not hesitate, shook his dizzy little head, stood up and continued to sprint forward. Next was a wooden stake with a tricky angle on the road, but it was not difficult for Fire Chicken to dodge. Just when Chick was about to change its route to avoid the wooden stake, Tetsuya's voice sounded again. Use lightning flash. Chick told itself that it would definitely crash into it after using lightning flash. However, the trust and obedience engraved in its genes and the 20 days of education from Tetsuya made Chick use lightning flash subconsciously. Tetsuya saw a glimmer of light on Chick's body, and its speed suddenly increased, and it crashed into the wooden stake without hesitation. Bang! This time Chick's body was directly rebounded and rolled on the ground twice. Without waiting for Tetsuya to speak, Chick stood up quickly. Although it looked powerful, it actually did not cause much damage to Chick's body. After all, Pokémon are not ordinary species. Chick now just felt a little embarrassed. He thought he could have a good performance in the first training, but he didn't expect to fall on this wood one after another. Next, in the training ground, besides Tetsuya's command, there were all kinds of noises of Chick crashing into the wooden stake. By the time Chickadee finished her first training with great difficulty and walked out of the finish line with her dusty body, 8 minutes had passed. Chickadee walked towards her trainer with a dejected look. Chickadee felt that her trainer would definitely criticize her for such a poor performance. You did a good job. Tetsuya took a towel and wiped Chickadee's face. Chickadee was a little dazed, and her body subconsciously cooperated with Tetsuya. Really good. This is your first training, Tetsuya said with a smile. It's not that Tetsuya said something against his will. According to Zero's test and data, Chickadee's first training should be completed in 9 minutes. But Chickadee's reaction was gradually getting faster as time went on, shortening the time by a full minute. This was already very surprising to Tetsuya, so he was sincerely praising Chickadee. Chickadee felt that her trainer did not deceive her, and immediately turned from sadness to joy, flapping her wings. Tetsuya looked at the funny little guy in front of him, and was helpless. Okay, let's continue training. Today's goal is still far away. Huozuji shouted in response, not expecting that this was just the beginning, and continued to train. At the beginning, the simplest route was matched with Zaya's command. Although Huozuji was a little embarrassed, he was still at ease. With continuous proficiency, the speed increased, and Zaya opened the second difficulty level of the route and transmitter. Huozuji's nightmare came. Not to mention that every time he finished running, the next round started immediately. Huozuji just wanted to ask, where is this hell? Happy Children's Day one day in advance. Please invest, collect, and recommend. I ask for everything! Exclamation mark. Thank you book friends for the 100 starting coins rewarded today. Thank you book friends who live to enjoy the reward of 100 starting coins. Chapter 19 Training and Benefits. But this is only part of the training program. The little Taochi didn't realize that the real hell was still behind. After that, there were a series of trainings such as weighted kicks, weighted squats, and fire energy gathering waiting for Taochi. After finishing the reaction training, Taochi thought he was liberated, but after hearing the arrangement of his trainer, he wanted to cry without tears. This is indeed hell, and his trainer is a big devil. The sun sets. After a day of training, Taochi and Pidgeot are enjoying the hard-earned delicacies on the dining table. Taochi is consuming food crazily, as if to cover up the pain of training with delicious food. Zhe also sat aside, eating the food he cooked elegantly. Zhe also calculated that with the amount consumed by the two Pokémon in a day, the materials he pre-purchased can support more than 2 months of cultivation. But considering the increase in Taochi's appetite and evolution, it is estimated that he will need to prepare to purchase some more things in about 7 weeks. Thinking of this, Zhe was also amazed at Taochi's high qualifications and rapid progress, which completely exceeded his data analysis. It's not surprising to think about it. After all, he didn't have another Pokémon with champion qualifications to give him specific data. he could only deduce with other data with lower potential, which would definitely cause problems. For example, according to his and Zero's deduction, the goal of Fire Chick today should be to complete the medium difficulty wooden stake array plus the interference of 2 transmitters within 12 minutes. Fire Chick was also in a hurry at the beginning, but as the training progressed, Fire Chick's reaction became faster and faster. Not only could it pass quickly in the medium difficulty wooden stake array, but it could also complete a training session in just 10 minutes under the interference of 3 transmitters. The progress of other projects also increased by 10% to 20%, which made Zaya sigh that Fire Chick was really amazing. The most amazing thing was that this little guy never complained once, which made Zaya's idea of lecturing his Pokémon die. But Zaya was also very happy about this. After all, Fire Chick could accept the current training that was very difficult for it, which meant that it had enough desire to become stronger. There was nothing wrong with this. After cleaning up the messy dining table, Zaya went upstairs and started his daily study. Chinchilla and Pidgey had returned to their Pokeballs and began to rest, preparing for tomorrow's hard training. 2 months later, in the back garden of a villa in the suburbs of Tokiwa City, the wooden stake array was close to the end. Chinchilla twisted its left foot and immediately tilted its body slightly to avoid the 3 elastic balls shot at it. Without waiting for a breath, it immediately bent its upper body to avoid being hit by the 2 elastic balls, one in front and one behind. It stretched its arms forward, slapped the ground hard, and dodged the wooden stake in front with a tilted forward roll. This was not over yet. Just as it stood up and accelerated, Tetsuya's voice rang. At 10 o'clock in the upper right, spray flames, and follow up with Yanfan and Paiwa to split the rock in front. Chinchilla immediately sprayed a column of fire in the direction of the command. The special stone thrown into the sky by Tetsuya was accurately burned into ashes by the 1800-degree high temperature flames sprayed by Chinchilla. The moment Chinchilla sprayed the flames, it cut off the energy output and switched to Yanfan. After the body was close to the ground and close to the rock, the right hand with a dazzling white light chopped downwards, which was the skill of splitting tiles. Karakab. After a crisp sound, the rock was directly cut. At this moment, 5 more elastic balls attacked from different directions at intervals, shooting at the limbs and torso of the strong chicken. The strong chicken also reacted very quickly, jumping up quickly, grabbing with one hand, and using the fire fist with the other hand to push away and knock away the 2 elastic balls above. Taking advantage of the situation, he did a mid-air spin to avoid the elastic balls that were originally shot at the torso. At this time, the 2 elastic balls at the bottom were already within reach. The strong chicken straightened his waist and abdomen and kicked the 2 elastic balls away with a double kick. Lightning flash. Zaya's voice is never late. As soon as the strong chicken landed, he bent his feet and exerted force and immediately used the lightning flash. There was another wooden stake in front of him. The strong chicken was not panicked at all and controlled his body at high speed to pass by the wooden stake. Okay, done. Zaya looked at the timer and stopped the training. Chicken calmed his breathing and slowly walked at Tetsuya's side. Very good. Now you can complete the high difficulty interference with 10 transmitters in 3 minutes. The goal of this stage is over. Quick. Chicken nodded calmly, indicating that he was going to start the next training. Tetsuya put on the weighted clothes for Chicken, set the data, and Chicken walked to the side to start kicking training. The waist and abdomen exerted force, driving the whole body to exert force, and the feet kept kicking alternately, maintaining a training state of 6 times per second. Tetsuya looked at Chicken's hard training and smiled with satisfaction. The training in the past 2 months has enabled Fire Chicken to successfully evolve into Chicken. Not only has its ability been greatly enhanced, but its personality has also become more stable. Thinking of this, Tetsuya said to himself, "Zero, open Chicken's panel after analysis." Soon, a blue panel that only Tetsuya could see appeared in his field of vision. Strong Chicken. Category, Chicken Pokémon Attribute, Fire/Fighting Height 1.3 meters, average value is 0.9 meters, weight 26 kilograms, average value is 19.5 kilograms, features, fierce fire. In a critical moment with little physical strength, the power of fire attribute moves will increase. Hidden features. Speed up. As the battle time increases, the speed of the Pokémon with this feature will continue to increase until the limit. Skills: Grab, Peck, Call, Double Return, Inherited, Burnout, Inherited, High Speed Movement, Inherited, Spark, Lightning Flash, Double Kick, Jet Flame, Charged Flame Attack, See-Through, Flame Fist, Chop Tile, Lower Body Kick, Big Fire, Hot Wind, Feather Dance, Swallow Return. Level 26. Normal, Potential, Champion Cultivation Method. It is recommended to train the leg muscles of this Pokémon. The degree of development is 1.56 times that of Pokémon of the same kind, and it has extremely strong explosive power and damage. The plan and recipe are as follows. It is recommended to feed the elf with a mixture of spicy cherry and chocolate fruit to enhance the intensity of the fire energy in the body of the elf, and the current ratio is 1:1. The reaction of this elf is 2.12 times that of the same kind of elves, and it is recommended to cultivate it in a targeted manner. The plan and recipe are as follows. Zay looked at the panel. Although he kept paying attention to it every day, such a strong panel still made Zay's mouth unconsciously rise. The skill panel of the 26th level Strong Chicken is not inferior to, or even better than, the skill panel of the 38th level Pidgeot that has just evolved. In addition to the 3 inherited skills, both the fire skills and the fighting skills are extremely comprehensive. Not to mention that during this period of training, the talent of the fire chicken has been further developed. The panel usually only appears once after evolution. If the skill is mastered, it will not be specially displayed. It is considered mastered if it is used directly in battle. Otherwise, I can write 300 words at a time. Seeking investment, collection, and recommendation. Whatever you want. Exclamation mark. Happy Children's Day. Beautiful girls and handsome guys are always 18. Chapter 20 Modification of Plan and Preparation Before Departure. The development of the leg muscles of Brachydius has increased from 1.44 times to 1.56 times compared to its peers. The reaction speed has also been accurately calculated to be 2.12 times that of its peers. The strength of the fire energy is comparable to some elite level Pokémon, but the quantity is slightly insufficient. ZHE can also say without hesitation that, although his Brachydius is only level 26, it is still no problem to beat some ordinary elite level Pokémon in their early 30s. After all, normal elite level Pokémon don't have so many skills, and Brachydius wins in terms of comprehensiveness. ZHE also understands that the level given by Zero can only be used as a reference. In a real battle, in addition to considering the quality and quantity of physical fitness and energy, it also depends on the mastery and use of skills and the layout and command of the trainer. Otherwise, Pokémon battles would not be so attractive, and trainers would not become the mainstream of this world. The level on Zero's panel only gives a quantitative data. ZHE thinks that, when Pidgeot is so strong, the panel is probably already in the early 30s. This allowed ZHE to roughly understand the basis of the level division of Zero through his own analysis. In the Pokémon world, the strength of the Pokémon divided by the alliance is determined only by the amount of energy in the body. Zero is also a quantitative adjustment based on this. The level and level of the Pokémon are only related to the amount of energy it has, and have nothing to do with physical fitness and energy quality. Potential determines the upper limit of the Pokémon's energy, and also makes high quality Pokémon stronger than low quality Pokémon at the same level. It is not only reflected in the strength of energy and body, but also in the mastery of skills. However, Zero's ability is enough. The level display can help ZHE effectively observe the progress and status of his Pokémon. It is not so simple for other trainers to clarify the role and effect of cultivation. Not to mention that there is a more useful identification of the potential of Pokémon and Pokémon eggs, which is the key. But these are not the focus and headaches of ZHE now. ZHE is actually quite helpless now, of course, accompanied by this joy. The main reason is that Strong Chicken is progressing too fast. In just 2 months, Chinchilla has risen from level 6 to level 26, and is about to break through to the elite level, and its strength is no less than that of the other. At the same time, Pidgeot has also risen to level 43, and has mastered several new skills. The price is a huge expense. Zay now only has 200,000 alliance coins in cash, and thanks to the slower progress of Pidgeot, he has saved some money. This really makes Zay a little frustrated and unacceptable. At first, Zay thought that Chinchilla would take at least 5 months to reach its current strength, but unfortunately, its qualifications were too high, and Chinchilla itself was also working hard enough, so Zay also invested regardless of the cost. This time was shortened by more than half, so Zay's plan has to be changed again. It can only be said that man proposes, God disposes. Fortunately, the reason for the change in the plan this time is good. I don't know how many trainers are eager to invest in this way to make their Pokémon stronger, but they don't have high quality Pokémon in hand. This may be a pleasant trouble. Zay was scribbling on the computer, thinking so. If other trainers knew what Tetsuya was thinking, they would probably want to beat him to death. In the evening, in the restaurant of the Pokémon Center, Tetsuya was having dinner with Brachydius and Pidgeot. Sitting around were trainers like him and their Pokémon. Of course, they were only the normal sized ones, and Onyx was not among them, otherwise Miss Joy would scold you miserably. Tetsuya came here to prepare to set off and start a real journey. Because Brachydius' strength improvement and the speed at which his savings bottomed out were faster than the original plan, Tetsuya was ready to leave Viridian City in advance. After all, although it was close to Viridian Forest, Viridian City was still too remote compared to Golden City and Rainbow City. Most of the long-term residents of Viridian City came here to maintain their health, and rarely issued high-level and high-reward tasks. In addition, bounty hunters and trainers who accepted the tasks came here for activities and adventures. Most of the high-level bounty missions would be posted in the bounty hunter centers in big cities like Golden City and Rainbow City, so they were snapped up long ago. It was not the turn for high-level missions to be passed to Viridian City, because no one took them in the place where they were posted. Zay thought that his current level was enough to handle most B-level missions, so it was time to leave. Moreover, he could use Zero's ability to make some money more carefully during the trip. The plan worked. Zay first tidied up the villa and went to the store and the trading center to clear out his extra items and materials. Part of it was the harvest from the occasional adventures in Viridian Forest in the past 2 months, and part of it was because the low-level materials that were not used up due to the rapid progress of Strong Chicken, so it was considered to have recovered 150,000 Alliance coins. Through the service of the Pokémon Center, Zay sold the villa in the suburbs for 900,000, and the handover procedures will be completed tomorrow. From the perspective of investment, Zay made a lot of money this time. Zay's space backpack was thrown into the room of the Pokémon Center, and the 50 cubic meters of space inside was almost half filled with those training equipment. Fortunately, Zay estimated that after the Strider evolved into the Flame Chicken, this equipment could be temporarily stored and would not be used for a while. In addition, there were various survival items in the wild, clothes, and food for the elves. It also included the means of transportation that Zaya spent 500,000 yuan to buy, a solar-powered electric car produced by Devon Company. It was a basic model, but the black technology inside was enough to cope with most situations in the wild. It can be said that the 50 cubic meters of space was packed full. Zaya finished his dinner, put the 2 elves back into the elf ball, and walked towards the service desk of the elf center. Each city in this world is relatively independent, and the personal household registration is generally bound to the elf center of the city where you were born or lived. Each city is jointly managed and protected by the gym owner of the city and the mayor elected by the citizens. The Alliance can only provide supervision and suggestions, but cannot force a city to take corresponding actions. Of course, the Alliance will forcibly intervene in events that are too threatening after emergency notification, in various ways. If you are a trainer and want to travel to various places, you must apply and register at the Pokémon Center, where your household registration is bound, and record it in the Alliance system. This rule only applies to non-direct trainers, that is, those who do not have Pokémon illustrated books. Direct trainers do not need to register again. Walking to the service desk, ZHE also greeted Miss Joy, who was sitting there. "Hello, Miss Joy, I want to apply for a travel certificate, thank you." To explain the cheat code in detail, if the protagonist's personality is changed to be able to learn everything and good at analysis, it can also be done, but it is not so accurate. It just plays a role in integrating knowledge so that the protagonist can be less worried. The most buggy skill is the talent detection, which is the key point. I will try to be more rigorous, but there will definitely be some problems. Don't be so entangled. After all, it is normal for the protagonist to challenge higher levels. Hahaha, it's just a reference. The panel has been emphasizing energy intensity, not quantity. The Pokémon illustrated book was mentioned in the 3rd or 4th chapter. Seeking investment, collection, and recommendation. Whatever! Exclamation mark. Happy Children's Day. Beautiful girls and handsome guys are always 18. Thanks to the book friend Yingshan Yaming S for the 200 Kidian coins reward. There will be an additional update today, but it will be around 5 PM. Chapter 21 Thinking and Departure. Heading to Nibi City. Miss Joy took the ID card that Tetsuya handed over and swiped it on the computer. Okay, Trainer Tamaki, please fill out this form truthfully first. Miss Joy typed on the computer for a while, then printed out a piece of paper and handed it to Tetsuya. Tetsuya picked up a pen and began to fill in his basic information. Name, Tetsuya Tamaki. Gender, male. Born in Tokiwa Orphanage, Tokiwa City. Age, 16 years and 8 months. Current Pokémon and capture time, Pidgeot, 1 year and 6 months. Tyranitar, 3 months. Travel range, Kanto, Chengdu and Orange Islands. Application travel time, 3 years. Will you participate in the tournament? Yes. Bounty hunter level, if necessary. Fill in, C level. Train level, if not tested. Fill in, normal. Tetsu didn't think about hiding the capture time of his Pokémon. After all, it was impossible to hide it. Not to mention that Silph's luxury ball has a record. Even if Miss Joy probably has a record of every time he comes to the Pokémon Center for treatment. After receiving the form filled out by Tetsuya, Miss Joy took a quick look and put it into the file. After all, this step is just a formality, and the documents need to be classified and filed. The information is basically in the database. You are applying for a 3-year travel pass for the Kanto region. Your identity is qualified, and the treatment is. Miss Joy looked at the mark next to Tetsuya's identity information on the computer. You can apply for a high-level treatment, and the total payment is 350,000 yuan. Tetsuya's eyes flashed with surprise, but he did not express his doubts about his treatment level. After obediently taking out the money to pay the pass fee, Tetsuya and Miss Joy thanked them and left the service desk. Back in the room, Tetsuya frowned and thought. The application for the pass mainly depends on the location range, the length of time, and the treatment level. The first two are proposed by the applicant. Basically, you don't apply for a 10-year global trip at once, but apply in 2 or 3 batches. If your identity is qualified, you can basically get it. The fee is also paid by combining the two. The longer the time and the larger the travel area, the higher the fee, but it will basically not exceed 100,000 yuan. The treatment level is completely determined by Miss Joy of the Pokémon Center. There are 4 levels: low level, medium level, high level and top level, with prices of 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 and 500,000. Respectively. The benefits of each level are different. Taking the high level he just passed as an example, the most useful and intuitive thing for him is that he can not only get priority to obtain free residence rights in all single rooms of Pokémon centers within the travel area he applied for, but also get free fast track treatment services. Not to mention a series of other benefits, such as the various fees of the Pokémon Center are only 30% off the original price. Basically, it is slightly higher than the benefits that the native trainers of each city get in the Pokémon Center in their own city. You should know that the treatment of the low level and medium level is 8-person and 4-person rooms respectively. If there are many people, you have to queue or simply cannot stay. The other various fees are only 10% and 20% off respectively, and there is no fast service. It can be said that the first 2 levels are completely different. Generally speaking, the treatment of the high level and top level is given to those who own the Pokémon book by default. Although it is not very useful to them, it is bound to the Pokémon book and is universally applicable. It is definitely not the turn of a civilian trainer like Zay. Zay originally thought that it was good enough to have the treatment of a mid-level trainer. When he arrived in another city, in order to keep it secret and train, he had to try his best to find a homestay. The cost of taking out treatment would also increase to a certain extent. After all, it was not in his birth city. This is also a considerable expense, but now it is saved. Zay understands that this is an investment by the Joey family in him. It is very naked and very real. It is clearly telling you that we know your strength and progress very clearly, and we plan to invest in you. However, Zay did not think there was anything wrong with this. If there is a group in the world that can have the most first-hand information about trainers and their Pokémon, it must be the Joey family. No other person or organization will have so much and complete information. Even the Alliance learned about it through the Joey family. If Joey and Junsha were not absolutely neutral, the Alliance would not sit idly by and watch this happen. After all, every trainer's Pokémon needs to go to the Pokémon Center for treatment. Whether it is the injury suffered during the adventure or the fatigue after training, they cannot do without the Joey family. In this case, the Joey family will pay attention to and invest in every genius trainer. The wealthy Joey family will naturally choose a wide-ranging investment model. After all, for them, this kind of investment is nothing, but for genius trainers born from civilians, it can save a lot of things. Under this model, the Joey family basically has a good relationship with most of the senior trainers and will not force them to join. It can only be said that it is mutually beneficial, which is also what ZHE has expected and planned for a long time. First strive for the Joey family to invest in himself. However, ZHE did not expect that the attention would come so quickly. Sure enough, the Joey family acted very quickly. ZHE also thought that the Joey family would not improve his treatment until he obtained 4 badges. This is more or less a pleasant surprise. ZHE also thought, walked into the bathroom, took a simple shower, and went to bed. After all, he still needs to set off for Nabi City tomorrow. There was no talk all night. The next morning, ZHE finished washing and prepared to go to Nabi City. This car produced by Devon Company is said to be an electric car, but in fact it looks more like a simple motorcycle. It's not that ZHE didn't want to buy a better and more stylish means of transportation, but he really didn't have the money. You have to know that in order for these means of transportation to be able to move freely in the wild, they are all developed by Devon Company, and they are not just as simple as a car. If ZHE hadn't been a little afraid of heights, and Pidgeot was not so stable when carrying people, ZHE would have chosen to let Pidgeot take him flying. ZHE felt that sooner or later he would have to get a suitable means of transportation pet, such as Salamander or Dragonite, which would be very suitable, flying fast and stable. But it's not bad now. After all, it's a formal trip. Riding a bike from one city to another and enjoying the scenery on the journey is what a trainer should do. ZHE released Pidgeot to follow in the sky, and Brachusef sat in the back seat. Putting on a helmet, ZHE twisted his right hand, and the electric car drove silently and quickly. It sped along the official road in the evergreen forest, which was still deserted. ZHE enjoyed the fresh air of the oncoming forest, and felt the taste of freedom. But after driving for a long time, I got used to the same old scenery, and it was a bit boring. ZHE also set the electric car to automatic driving mode. Turn on the screen projection on the windshield and start to appreciate the movie of this world. Strong Chicken also stretched his little head in the back and watched the movie with his trainer. Please invest, collect, and recommend. I ask for everything! Exclamation mark. Joey and Junsha are definitely positive images. This was originally in the protagonist's plan, but it was brought forward. The reason was mentioned in the previous article. More. The reason is that in addition to the first reward, the cumulative reward has reached 1000 starting coins and the collection has reached 500 Although it is not much, it is worth remembering for the first book of a new author! Exclamation mark. Thank you all for your support. Thank you very much! Exclamation mark. Ps. In addition to commemoration, I still have to complete the cumulative amount in the future. Otherwise I will be exhausted. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22 Arrival at Nabi City in preparation for the gym battle. Hosea let out a breath. He just finished watching a healing movie, and he was really in a bad mood. He couldn't watch it halfway through, so he put himself back into the Pokeball to rest. He looked at the navigation time, and there were less than 20 minutes left. Zaya cancelled the automatic navigation, and increased the speed. The Pidgeot in the sky lazily flapped its wings and followed. After all, for it, this speed was no different from a walk. If it were to go at full speed, it would take about 3 minutes to fly from Viridian City to Nabi City. It didn't understand why its trainer had to spend more than 3 hours on the road. It was so boring. Zaya didn't know that his Pidgeot was complaining about him, and he was still enjoying the joy of driving at high speed. It was because there was no one on the main road, otherwise Zaya would definitely get into trouble. Zaya braked the electric car to stop, got off the car, and put it back into the space backpack. He called Pidgeot down, and put it back into the Pokeball, to prevent it from getting too close to the city, and being eliminated by the city guardians of the gym as a wild Pokémon. Tetsuya strolled towards the entrance of Nabi City. Nabi City, also known as the City of Deep Grey, the City of Rock, and the City of Spaciflight, is located at the junction of the Evergreen Forest and Mount Tsukimi. The surrounding terrain is similar to a basin, surrounded by mountains on 3 sides, and facing the forest on one side. Thanks to its special location, Nabi City has a rich geological environment, and is rich in various rocks. It is the largest rock production area in the Kanto region. Not only that, there are also various ancient elf fossils in the Mount Tsukimi Mountains. Both collectors and elf researchers have great interest in these fossils. Complete elf fossils are treasures for collectors, and the price will be higher than you can imagine. Researchers accept all comers. Through gene extraction technology, they can conduct quite a lot of research, regardless of whether the fossils are complete or not. Now no one has developed fossil revival technology, and Tetsuya thinks he can find a way to collect some first. When the fossil revival technology appears, the price of fossils will definitely rise wildly in the future. Moreover, Dasha Valley does not seem to be known and developed at present, and Tetsuya thinks he can find time to make a fortune from it. For trainers, the most attractive thing about Nabi City is the Moonview Mountain, not only because of the Pokémon living there, but also because there is an extremely rare evolution stone in the Moonview Mountain, the Moonstone. There are a large number of Pippas in the Moonview Mountain. It is said that Pippas are creatures from the moon, and the corresponding moonstone is likely to be a meteorite from space, so it can make them evolve. Every trainer comes here to explore, largely to get a piece of moonstone, and make a fortune. Tetsuya knows that there is a Pippi tribe in the Moonview Mountain, and there is a huge moonstone inside, which can make Pippas evolve. It's just that you can just think about that kind of place. Not to mention how strong the tribe inside is, and whether you can approach it. The Alliance probably knows that it has been blocked, and it is impossible to enter. At the same time, Nabi City is also famous for its aerospace technology. The only museum in the Kanto region, the Nabi City Science Museum, has records of Nabi City's past aerospace. However, with the shift of the economic focus and the fact that Greenridge City and the Hone region also began to develop related developments, Nabi City gradually gave up the research on aerospace technology. Until now, only the museum still records the past glory of Nabi City's space exploration. After lunch, Zaya walked on the streets of Nabi City. Looking around, the buildings were all dark grey. Compared with Viridian City, the people around him were younger and more energetic. Zaya had many purposes for this trip, and the first one was naturally to make money. He was also preparing to challenge the gym, conquer the Pokémon that would complete the main team, and participate in the regional conference. There were 2 purposes. The first was to improve his trainer level. The level certification of the ordinary level was very simple. As long as you had an elite or higher level Pokémon, or 2 ordinary level Pokémon, you could complete the certification. Zaya completed the certification and became an ordinary level trainer after Pidgeot broke through the elite level. However, the elite level certification not only requires a trainer to have 3 or more Pokémon of the same level, but also requires a trainer to have at least entered the main competition in the regional conference. In addition to the Pokémon level, the Quasi King requires a trainer to have won the top 4 in the regional conference. As for the King, at least 6 King level Pokémon are required to pass the certification, but there is no requirement for the results of the conference. As for the high levels, ZHE is not very clear, but it must be simpler. And higher level trainers will also have different benefits, and it is more conducive to obtaining positions in the alliance. Therefore, participating in gym battles and regional conferences is inevitable. The second is to obtain investment. The regional conference is actually a showcase for trainers who are not descendants of large families. Every year, trainers will obtain investment from others through their performance on this stage, making their trainer path smoother. For ZHE, this is also true, but according to the plan, ZHE will focus on the Chengdu Alliance Conference 2 years later. As for the Quartz Conference, it is more casual, because it takes time to collect and cultivate elves. ZHE estimates that he may not be able to gather 6 main elves by then. Or if they are not cultivated well, they will need to temporarily capture some wild elves to make up the number. ZHE came to the service hall of the Pokémon Center and prepared to start making appointments for gym battles. You know, gym battles in this world are not such a simple thing. It is not like in the animation of the previous life. As long as you walk in, the gym owner is there, and you are only responsible for fighting. Gym leaders not only have to protect the safety of the entire city, but also be responsible for the activities of various businesses and the development of the city. They are very busy. Although gym battles are their responsibility, it is not possible for anyone to go there at any time. The first thing is to make an appointment and register your information. This is mainly to facilitate the gym to know the strength of your Pokémon, and then use Pokémon with roughly the same strength to fight you. After all, the strength of the gym leader of each formal gym is required to be at least the real King level. That is, there is a team of 6 main Pokémon with the strength of the King. It is impossible for you, a trainer who has just come out to travel, to be fought by the gym leader with his main Pokémon. Generally speaking, according to the strength and age of your Pokémon, the corresponding apprentice is sent to fight. After completing the appointment, ZHE also used his high-level treatment to book a single room and put his backpack in the room. ZHE also planned to visit Nibe City before the appointment information arrived and enjoy the completely different life atmosphere from Viridian City where he lived since childhood. After sorting out his things, ZHE went out, seeking investment, collection, and recommendation. Whatever. I'm dying of laughter. My classmates dragged me to play King of Glory. I just finished playing it like crazy. Chapter 23, Kanto Region Gyms and the 4 Heavenly Kings. Tetsuya walked on the street, sighing that Nibe City was indeed more prosperous than Viridian City. The main reason was that the streets of Viridian City were full of elderly people who seemed particularly leisurely, while the streets of Nibe City were full of young people. According to the statistics of the Alliance, Nibe City ranked 6th in the strength ranking of all cities in Kanto. This was not a bad number, after considering all aspects. Viridian City was only ranked 8th, but it was because of the strong strength of Sakaki, the owner of the Viridian Gym, Daichi. In terms of economy alone, Viridian City could only be ranked 11th. You have to know that this is not in the game. There are only 8 citizen gyms in the Kanto region. According to Tetsuya's information, the 8 gyms that appeared in the previous life game are the 8 gyms with the longest history in the Kanto region in this world. Tetsuya has learned that so far, there are 76 cities in the Kanto region, of which there are 32 formal gyms, 20 informal gyms, and the rest are single gyms, or have no gyms yet. By the way, the number of formal gyms in the Kanto region is the largest among all regions. The number of formal gyms in other regions is no more than 20, and the number of formal gyms in some regions is only about 10. It is also the only region where the number of formal gyms exceeds the number of informal gyms. The so-called formal gyms are gyms recognized by the Alliance and sent badges that can be used to participate in the local regional conference. The requirement for the gym master must be a real king level. Every 10 years, the Alliance will evaluate whether it can continue to operate as a formal gym. Some strong formal gyms have 1 or 2 quasi-champion level or even champion level elves in the hands of the gym master. Because these gyms are inherited from the family, the previous generation is old, but their elves are still in the hands of their descendants. With the polishing of time, the elves are getting stronger and stronger. This is the heritage of the gym. The most famous ones are the 8 major gyms in Kanto. As for informal gyms and single-person gyms, they are those that have opened gyms in the city, but their strength is not up to the requirements or their strength is not up to the requirements, and the development of the gym does not meet the requirements. Generally, the gym leaders of this kind of gyms are generally at the quasi-king level or above. The badges issued by the former can also be used to certify the elite trainer level, but they cannot participate in the conference. The badges of the latter can only be used by yourself to show off, and there is basically no other formal use. Nibe City can rank 6th in the Kanto region, which is already a very powerful city. Moreover, the Kanto region is recognized by everyone as a top-ranked region, which is full of gold content. This is not only because the Kanto region is the origin of the Alliance, but more because of the strength of the trainers. Economic strength and technological strength are not discussed for the time being, and each region is actually similar, and each has its own advantages. The key lies in the strength of the trainers in the Kanto region, which is the best in the world, far exceeding other regions. In terms of the number of formal gyms, the Kanto region is at least 1 to 2, or even 1 to 3. Even in terms of quality, the average strength of the formal gym leaders in the Kanto region is much stronger than that of other regions. Let's talk about the high-end combat power of the 4 kings and champions in the region. The so-called 4 kings of the region were selected after countless hard battles. Every 5 years, each region will hold a champion challenge, and all alliance members whose trainers have reached the champion level can sign up to participate. Of course, most people will choose to participate in the challenge in the region where they were born, and will not go to other regions. Many champion trainers who have ventured alone to improve themselves will actively participate. Only the top 4 who stand out from countless strong enemies can get the title of the 4 regional champions. In the recent champion challenges, the most attractive one must be the Kanto region. Not for any reason, just for the strongest 4 regional champions in the Kanto region. The genius trainer Yulang Shidu, the ice expert Queen Kona, the oldest record holder of the 4 regional champions, the immortal ghost Kikuko, the hard and soft fighting maniac Shiba. These 4 people are simply the nightmares of all the champion challenge participants in the Kanto region in the past 20 years. To put it simply, these 4 people are recognized as champion trainers who have the strength to compete for the regional championship seat. The quota of the Kanto region's 4 regional champions in the past 4 sessions has not been shaken. These 4 people can't be said to be crushing against others, but can only be said to be chopping melons and vegetables. Everyone felt that it would be more appropriate to call these 4 people the 4 champions of Kanto instead of the 4 heavenly kings of the strongest regions in Kanto. The 4 heavenly kings of other regions, although also very strong, were still far from being champion trainers, unlike these 4 people. Even though the 4 heavenly kings were more of an honorary title, not just a title of champion. The heavenly kings of other regions could have 3 or 4 semi-champion Pokémons, and 1 or 2 champion Pokémons, which was considered to be the upper class among all the heavenly kings of the regions. The average level usually had to bring 2 or 3 peak heavenly king Pokémons, while the 4 of them basically had a team of champions each. Just to make a joke, the 8 gyms in Kanto could still come up with 2 teams of 4 heavenly king level Pokémons, which was outrageous. Moreover, it was already reported that the Dragon Master Fairy would soon serve as the regional champion of the Chengdu region. This was simply despairing news. Therefore, although the Kanto region did not have regional champions like other regions, no one thought that the Kanto region was weak, and it could even be said to be exaggeratedly strong. After all, the way regional champions are produced is that as long as you have been or are currently the regional king, you can apply to challenge the regional 4 kings of the current term. After winning 4 or 3 consecutive battles, you will be the regional champion. No one thinks that anyone can defeat the 4 guys in Kanto region who are called kings, but are actually champions, and they themselves cannot defeat the other 3. When the reason why Kanto region has no champion is just because of this. Everyone is not stupid and thinks that Kanto is weak without the champion. What's more, in addition to the current 4 kings and champions, Kanto has many strong and outstanding Pokémon doctors, such as Professor Oak, who is not only a champion trainer, but also the world's leading Pokémon doctor. For example, Chairman Amaranchi is also a champion trainer, and is also from Kanto. Among the 12 people in the highest meeting formed by all regional alliances, 5 are from Kanto, and there is only 1 from each other region. Tetsuya walked around, and 2 hours passed. Ding dong, the elf watch received a reply message about the gym appointment. Please ask trainer Tetsuya Tamaki to arrive at Nabi Gym number 1 at 4:30 PM today for the gym battle. The rules are detailed in the next item. Tetsuya pulled down the message. Nabi Gym battle is a 2v2 rock field battle. The gym trainer sends out the elf first. The challenger has the right to attack first. During the battle, the challenger is allowed to change the elf, and the gym trainer is not allowed to change the elf. The elf of either side loses all the combat ability, and is judged as losing. During the battle, the elves of both sides are not allowed to use high-tech equipment, otherwise it will be considered a failure. During the battle, the elves of both sides are not allowed to leave the battlefield for any reason, otherwise it will be considered a failure. If the environment or equipment of the gym outside the field is damaged due to the challenger's own reasons, leaving the battlefield, compensation shall be paid according to the price. Seeking investment, collection, and recommendation. I want everything! Exclamation mark. Thanks to Jumunganda_Chen for the reward of 100 starting coins. Thanks to ZZZZZZZZZZZZZ for the reward of 100 starting coins. Chapter 24, Gym Battle. Battle with Brock. During the battle, the elves of both sides are not allowed to leave the battle area for any reason, otherwise it will be considered a failure. If the challenger causes damage to the gym environment or equipment outside the venue due to his own reasons, leaving the battle area, he must pay compensation according to the price. Zaya, read the battle rules of the Nabi Gym carefully. In fact, they are the same as the rules of normal battles. Except for the first 3 sentences, there are no changes in other contents. I looked at the time. There is still about an hour and a half left, so there is no rush. I walked around the street for another half an hour, went back to the Pokémon Center, and took back the 2 Pokémons that I had given to Miss Joy to recover when I booked the room. Zaya then walked slowly towards the Nabi Gym in the distance. When he got closer and looked at the magnificent Nabi Gym, he sighed that it was worthy of being one of the 8 oldest gyms in Kanto. I saw that the exterior of the Nabi Gym was composed of many huge rocks, as if a big rock snake had coiled up its body. The buildings next to it were already rough and tall enough, but compared to the Nabi Gym, they can only be described as petite. The feeling given is that the Nabi Gym is like a dark grey rock monster, worthy of the name of Nabi City. It is understandable. After all, the previous Naib Gym Master served as one of the 4 heavenly kings of the Kanto region when Kanto and Chengdu were still one. He was very powerful. At that time, the Naib Gym was reformed and rebuilt into its current appearance. However, since he retired to the second line position of the Gym Master and handed it over to his son taken 30 years ago, the old man has rarely appeared. But the Naib Gym is still strong, and Taken's Gym Master is also quite powerful. There are no problems like in the animation of the previous life. Zaya retracted his gaze, showed his ID card and reservation information to the staff at the door, and was led by the staff to the waiting room of venue number 1. There are 32 minutes left before your scheduled gym battle, and the previous trainer is fighting. Please take a rest in the waiting room, and the staff will notify you to go to the battle venue later. You can enjoy the drinks in the waiting room at will. I wish you good luck in martial arts. The staff member who led the way explained the situation and left. Tetsuya looked at the well-decorated waiting room and couldn't help but sigh that the gym was really rich. He walked to the beverage machine, took the cup on the side, poured a glass of juice, sat on the sofa and started drinking. Half an hour passed quickly, and a staff member came in and took Tetsuya to the battle site. Walking through the dark corridor, a beam of light shone from the front. Squinting my eyes, I walked into the light, and what came into view was a huge rocky venue. "Are you the trainer Tetsuya Tamaki who is here to challenge?" The voice of the squinting man with brown skin and green vest on the opposite side of the venue came. Tetsuya was surprised for a moment, but with the gym battle ahead, he held back and nodded to confirm. "Yes, I'm Tetsuya Tamaki from Tokiwa City. I'm now officially challenging you to a battle with the Nabi Badgers. The stakes." He walked to the platform opposite the trainers and stared at the man across the field. "Okay, Trainer Tetsuya, although you have already received the rules of the challenge, I still need to explain them briefly." The man motioned for the referee to enter the field. The Nibe Gym battle is a 2v2 battle on a rock field, and the gym trainer sends out the Pokémon first. The challenger has the right to attack first, and the challenger is allowed to change Pokémon during the battle, but the gym trainer is not allowed to change Pokémon. If all Pokémon on either side lose their combat ability, they will be declared the loser. The referee waved the flag. Then, the match between Brock from Nibe Gym and Tetsuya Tamaki from Viridian City begins now. Brock threw out a Pokéball. "The first one I'll send out is Rhythmite." Tetsuya did not hesitate and took out a Pokéball from his waist the moment the other side released the Pokémon. "Then go, Brock." Yes, Tetsuya chose Brichidius instead of Pidgeot. After all, compared to Pidgeot, Brichidius needs more training at this time. What's more, gym battles are supposed to be a battle between Pokémon of equal strength, not just for badges. Brock looked at Tetsuya's Brichidius, and a hint of amazement and surprise flashed in his eyes. As a future gym successor and a trainer who aims to be an excellent breeder, Brock can of course see that Tetsuya's Brichidius not only has excellent qualifications, but also that Tetsuya's training is beyond ordinary people. As for attribute restraint, Brock is not stupid. Although there are indeed new trainers who don't know this kind of thing, Tetsuya, who can breed such an excellent Brichidius, doesn't look like such a fool. Confident? Interesting. Brock thought to himself. Move close at high speed and spray flames. Tetsuya issued an order to Brichidius, and first tested the Rumble Rock on the opposite side. Roll to connect with the rock and grind to avoid it. Gon's skillful command. Every trainer would start with speed to test Rumblebot, and Gon had already formed a routine to deal with it. Originally, it would be enough to just roll to avoid it. After all, although Rumblebot is slow, its flexibility is not bad. The bonus of rolling to speed is enough to avoid most of the tentative attacks of the same level. But considering the development of the opponent's Brichidius, it is definitely a tough opponent, so Gon still cautiously used a rock grinding to further speed up Rumblebot's starting speed. Rumblebot shrank up and rolled, and at the same time, its body suddenly became bright and moved quickly to the side. The flame sprayed by Brichidius still touched Rumblebot, leaving black marks on Rumblebot's body and the ground. Gon's eyes became smaller. This Brichidius not only has extremely fast moves, but also has a much stronger flame power than its peers. ZHE was also secretly shocked. What a flexible Rumblebot. The speed of rolling and then rock grinding is simply amazing. But there's nothing special about it, and attacking isn't its strong point. Tetsuya analyzed the place where Raiden was injured. Just chase him with a flash of lightning and kick him away with a lower body kick. Patience. Brock was very surprised to hear Tetsuya's command, but his good education made him subconsciously shout out these two words to command Raiden. Brichidius was moving closer to Raiden at high speed. After hearing the command of his trainer, a white light flashed on his body, and he came behind Raiden at an extraordinary speed, and pretended to kick. At this time, Raiden had just reacted, and was about to use patience, but was kicked into the air by Brichidius. 2 consecutive kicks followed by a tile-breaking blow to finish it off. Zay's cold voice came out. Without waiting for Xiaogang and Rumblestone to react, Strong Chicken jumped up and gave 2 consecutive kicks. First, he kicked the unbalanced Rumblestone higher, and then turned around and kicked Rumblestone to the ground. Strong Chicken controlled his body in the air and followed above Rumblestone. His right hand emitted a white light, and after accumulating power, he used gravity to chop Rumblestone directly with his hand knife. Bang! Rumblestone quickly smashed into the middle of the field, and a puff of smoke rose. Please invest, collect, recommend, and vote for me. I ask for everything. There is one more chapter at 10 o'clock in the morning. Chapter 25 Defeat Xiao Gang. With the reaction force of the bloater Rumblebit flipped out of the smoke and watched vigilantly. Soon, the smoke dissipated, and Rumblebit's eyes turned into whirlpools. Rumblebit has lost its ability to fight and cannot fight. Challenger Tetsuya Tamaki wins. The referee immediately raised the flag and announced the result. Bronco took back the Pokeball and smiled bitterly. A very good Rumblebit, with extremely fast speed, strong power, high flame power, and very smooth connection of fighting skills. It is very effective for Rumblebit, Bronco thought to himself. At first, he thought that Tetsuya's command to Rumblebit to keep up was a joke. After all, when Rumblebit rolled faster, ordinary Pokémon could not catch up, not to mention that it was polished with rocks. But he was taught, since childhood, not to underestimate the commands of the opponent's trainer. The opponent is not a fool, and would not do such useless work. If Rumblebit can catch up, then Rumblebit will definitely not be able to dodge. Instead of commanding to dodge, it is better to use patience to fight back. But the opponent's speed was so fast that Raiden had no time to use any skills, and was kicked away by the lower body. Then he was beaten up, and there was no suspense at all. Thinking of this, Xiaogang did not slow down and quickly took out the second Pokeball. Does the challenger need to change Pokémon? The referee also asked Tetsuya. Tetsuya shook his head to indicate that he did not need it, and the referee signaled Xiaogang to release the second Pokémon. Xiaogang threw the Pokeball. This is my second Pokémon. Go, Triceratops. He twined. Say hello to the opponent. Tetsuya seized the opportunity to let Strongbring consume the opponent. Mutter as soon as Triceratops came out to prepare for battle, he was hit by the oncoming. He twined and let out an uncomfortable cry. Tetsuya looked at the opponent's state and evaluated it. Stronger than Raiden, but not much stronger. It seems that there is no need for Pidgeot. Tetsuya was not surprised. After all, there is a reason why the gym uses Pokémon with similar strength to you. The Rumblestone just now is about level 29, and this Diglett is probably about level 35, which is generally on par with Tetsuya's two Pokémon. But these two Pokémon only have elite potential, which is far behind Brichidius. That's why this situation has happened. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so easy for normal trainers to fight in the gym. And Brichidius is getting stronger and stronger. Tetsuya smiled. Brock had no idea what Tetsuya was thinking at this time, but was just amazed at Brichidius's excellence. Dig a hole and approach the opponent from underground. Brock gave a command to Diglett. Diglett's body sank and disappeared into the ground. Keep moving at a high speed and be careful of your feet. Tetsuya gave a command. Without a move like Earthquake, Brichidius has no way to deal with the opponent digging a hole. However, if time drags on for a long time, it will not be a bad thing for him. Brock frowned as he looked at the fast-moving Brichidius. What's the point of the opponent doing such useless work? You have to know that Diglett is now waiting for the opportunity and has the intention to attack. Simple evasion like that of Strong Chicken not only consumes physical strength, but also will be considered as losing the will to fight if it lasts too long, and will be judged as losing. Xiaogang observed carefully for a while, and suddenly found something wrong. Why is this Strong Chicken getting faster and faster, and is it working harder? No, the change in physical strength consumption is not that big. Is this the hidden characteristic acceleration characteristic? Xiaogang immediately realized that it was not good. Although simple evasion for too long will be considered as losing the will to fight, and will be judged as losing, but using the characteristic acceleration like Strong Chicken will not be considered as simple evasion. Unless it reaches the limit and there is no way to accelerate anymore, the referee will intervene, but that time is too long. Before that, the three rats will be judged as losing, because they have not launched an attack for a long time. Quicksand Hell. Xiaogang immediately ordered the three rats underground to launch an attack, trying to slow down Strong Chicken. But Xiaogang's command was too late. At this time, Strong Chicken's speed, with the dual blessing of the acceleration characteristic and high-speed movement skills, was far beyond the three rats' ability to react. Just a second ago, there was still a pile of swirling sand under the feet of the brute, and the next second, the brute had broken free and ran far away, only suffering a little damage. Diglett couldn't restrain the brute, which had already accelerated. TSK. Xianagang was a little helpless. His chances of winning suddenly became much lower. He still suffered from the lack of intelligence, but identifying the characteristics of the enemy is what a trainer should do. It can only be said that he didn't do it well enough. Besides, the criterion for sending badges in gym battles is to look at the strength and tacit understanding between the trainer and the Pokémon, not simply to win. ZHE had already met the conditions for sending badges to the Nibe gym. But Xianagang didn't want to give up so easily. Xianagang issued a struggling command. Diglett, surprise attack, then use triple attack, double return, continuous fire punch to stop him. ZHE also had the upper hand and was ready to fight quickly. Diglett turned into a phantom and quickly approached the brute, and a surprise attack skill hit the brute. Strong Chicken injured it and used double payback, hitting the body of the 3-rat hard. The 3-rat was about to use a triple attack when it was interrupted by Strong Chicken's double payback. Enduring the severe pain, the 3-rat continued to use a triple attack, trying to restrict Strong Chicken. Strong Chicken dodged the 3-rat's triple attack with a speed that the 3-rat could not see. Flames condensed on his claws, and he hit the 3-rat's body exposed on the ground in turn. Mickey the 3-rat cried out in pain. Don't give up, 3-rat. Use the last resurrection. Xianagang shouted. The 3-rat used up his last bit of physical strength and used the resurrection to crash into Strong Chicken. At this time, Strong Chicken had calmly used his speed to hide far away, constantly dodging the attacks of the 3-rat. Muttered Diglett struggled to hit the power kicken, but he couldn't do it. Soon, he ran out of energy, his eyes turned into whirlpools, and he fell to the ground. Diglett lost his ability to fight, and he can't fight. The challenger, Tetsuya Tamaki, wins. The referee immediately raised the flag and announced the result. Xianagang had no choice but to take back Diglett. Although Xianagang knew that his fight was doomed to fail the moment he judged the acceleration characteristics, he was still a little unhappy that the fight was ended so easily. Tetsuya also took back the power kicken. The two walked out of the field and shook hands with each other. Congratulations, you won. The Navy badge will be sent to you at the front desk of the gym. After the information is entered, you can go to pick it up with your ID card. Xianagang smiled and congratulated Tetsuya. Although it was very unpleasant to lose the game, Xianagang already knew how to deal with it. Besides, the trainer on the opposite side was very strong, so it was not surprising to lose. It's good to get to know him. Xianagang thought so. Please invest, please collect, please recommend, please vote for the monthly ticket. I ask for everything. Thank you Yulang for the 100 starting coins. Thank you Bookfriend202104062115309991 for the 100 starting coins. Thank you Jumungand_Chen for the 100 starting coins. PS. After that, I will update one chapter at 10 AM and 5 PM every day, because it is annoying to update in the early morning. I have obsessive compulsive disorder, and I have to check what I have posted at the right time. I can't stay up late. Sometimes I post 3 chapters, that is, the 3rd chapter at 9 PM. To make up for the mistake, I will add one more chapter at 5 PM. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.